Y'all. I'm Teresa. So glad to have you here. I'm going to wait just a few moments and see who joins us in the live stream, and then we going to lock and load and ride out. I hope everyone is doing well here today. I want to shift up the music here for just a little bit, so bear with me. Ooh, wait a minute now. I ain't see that one. I hope this don't have a bajillion commercials in it because this is one I haven't listened to before, but we're going to see what we see. This is all kind of a little bit dark, but we're going to see. Oh, nobody in here yet? Oh, no. What's going on? Let's see. For those who may be watching this in the replay, I do have a special request for you because I am trying my very best to get another channel launched. I did the setup today to birth a new channel. It's not a new channel, it's an old channel for me, but I'm opening it up from a personal use channel into it becoming a tarot channel. I did have some folks request to kind of separate the spiritual and textual conversations from the tarot a little bit and to do more love focused readings. So I did start Anunnaki Oracle Priestess today. So I would like to ask that anyone that is actually seeing or hearing this message, if you would be so kind as to go over to that channel and subscribe. I can't go live until we get to 50 subscribers. Now, according to, I started out this morning with 46 and I'm at 53 right now. And it's saying that I still have to wait. So I don't know if it's just a time thing. I was hoping to go live tonight after this live stream to just jump over there and do some tarot on that channel, but I may have to wait until tomorrow. But if you would do me a solid and subscribe over there as well, I would certainly appreciate it because it will help me to get to live stream capabilities faster. So that's kind of what I've been up to. Like I said, I heard y'all, you asked, and I obeyed. So yeah, we have started that channel. Anunnaki Oracle Priestess is in full effect as of right now. The first video on the channel is kind of an introduction, or the second video, I should say. It is, hey, Crisco's Country Life. Welcome, welcome. And thank you for joining me today. How are you? How are you? Hey, Ms. Michelle, how are you? I haven't seen you in a minute, sweetheart. It is wonderful to see you back in here. How you been? I'm your dream girl. Oh God, I hope it ain't a nightmare. Awesome, awesome. Listen, like I was telling y'all, please do me a solid. Everybody requested they wanted to have like keep the spiritual channel here, us doing our thing here in the evenings, but they wanted me to create another channel, kind of separate a channel out to separate out the tarot a bit. So I did create that channel. If you go to this homepage and scroll down to the bottom, you'll see my other channel. It's Anunnaki Oracle Priestess. If you would be so kind as to subscribe there as well and hit notifications. But we will be getting rolling on that as soon as they give me the ability to go live. I thought it was going to happen tonight. I hope it happens tonight. Might not happen till tomorrow, but we will be doing that. Oh, thank you, Crisco's. Appreciate you. And you said you subscribed. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm doing really well, Miss Michelle. I'm just trying to. I still haven't found a secular job, and I'm really beginning to think that that's my spirit team telling me, who are you kidding? You don't really want a job. You just need some income. So get off your behind and do the things necessary on social media to generate an income. And that's part of why I wanted to start that other tarot channel. The spiritual stuff is work that I have to do for Inky and Yeshua, but that's not going to pay the bills. Tarot can actually pay the bills if I go ahead on and get organized and do it. So, and I'm happy to do it. I know I'm a good tarot reader, and people that are looking for that help and that confirmation, I'm more than happy to do it. I just need to consistently do it in a way that can pay the bills. And thank you, Crisco's. I appreciate that. Yep. So, oh, we're also, it will, and they are. It's just, like I said, I've been kind of half assing it, and I just got to stop doing that. And one of the things, too, like this weekend, once I have the ability to live stream, I said, as a thank you for getting to that point, for that milestone, I will offer some free mini readings on the live stream this weekend. If it happens tonight, wonderful. I'll do tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. If I'm not able to go live until tomorrow, then it'll be obviously tomorrow, Sunday, and maybe Monday. But I've come to a realization with myself. I tend to give away the farm when it comes to my readings, and I'm going to stop doing that. I've had people literally, send me $22 for a 15-minute reading. And when I get in there and start answering their question, I start digging deep in it, partially because I'm spiritually nosy, but I'll wind up doing an hour-long reading for somebody that only paid $22 for a reading, and that has to stop. When I look at what other tarot readers charge for their all-in hour-plus readings, I've seen everything from $100 up to $350 for an all-in hour-long reading covering love, spirituality, life purpose, finances, all of that stuff. Yeah, they ain't playing, and I really got to stop doing that, because I'm not saying it's a waste of time. I'm happy to serve the collective. But if I cater to people that want to pay me $20 and get everything under the sun, then I'm going to be stuck as a reader spending 8-10 hours a day reading for people and barely being able to survive. Yeah. Can I say a Bible verse? I surely can. I say them all the time. If you actually went to my channel instead of jumping in the live stream trying to proselytize, I've given whole hour-long talks about Bible verses. Go into the Bible. Almost every live stream I do, I pick up a Bible and not only say Bible verses, but I read from the scriptures as well. G Sleepy, whoever you are. Do I feel that you're good looking? Honestly, I don't think about men in the terms of good looking anymore, because I have a man and I'm not really looking in that vein. I mean, I can acknowledge a handsome man when I see one, but you got to understand that my age and this stage in the game, it take more than a pretty face to turn my attention, because I've had ugly men and I've had breathtakingly handsome men, and they all acted like shit at the end of the day. So what somebody look like don't impress me all that much. It's what their heart looks like and how they're prepared to actually treat me that matters for me. I mean, I'm just trying to be funny. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being real. I'm 57 years old. I got a lot of miles under me. You know what I mean? So you could look like Idris Elba, and what's the old the dude that play Mufasa? That's the latest rage. They are beautiful. They beautiful, and I got zero chance with any of them. So at the end of the day, what do all they beautiful do for me? Hey, Valerio or Valerio Gutierrez. Oh, wonderful. Glad to have you. Awesome. I hope you'll consider joining me on the other channel as well, Anunnaki Oracle Priestess. If you go to the homepage and scroll down to the bottom, I'm pushing on that channel because I'm literally having my it's an older channel, but I'm trying to get to a point where I can live stream on it. I'm splitting tarot off of this channel. I probably will still continue to do like a weekly collective reading or something on this channel, just for those who aren't super into tarot, but I still want to bring them some kind of spiritual encouragement in that regard. But most of the tarot that I do will be migrating over to Anunnaki Oracle Priestess. You said you the same way, Michelle? Yeah. I honestly, you know what though? Come to think of it, I've never been a woman that was super hung up on a guy's looks. And again, like I said, I've had some really dated handsome men in the past, but I've also dated just regular dudes, shorter than me, skinnier than me. I've dated some that would have been considered, I mean, they had such egos, they thought they looked good, and I wouldn't tell them different in their face, but quite honestly, they was not handsome men at all, at all. Oh no, Guello, I don't mess with voodoo at all, at all. No spell work for me. My spiritual walk does not allow me to play in none of the dark arts. Now, my area of spiritual expertise is considered occult knowledge because I go into the ancient mystical teachings, but that's not genuinely. People think occult means messing with stuff like that. It doesn't. It simply means hidden. But no, you'll never catch me messing with voodoo, Santeria, none of that. I don't even mess. I don't. I mean, I'm aware of like some of the uh, Yoruban deities and things. I work with the Loas occasionally, but I mean, I respect their presence. But no, never will I ever do any kind of spell work for nobody, other than if you want to consider meditating with crystals and setting those stones with Reiki, infusing Reiki into stones and candle wax under the moon. No, Kwame, that is not what the scripture says. Yeshua said the love of money is the root of all evil. Money is not the root of all evil. Money is just a tool. Yeshua wasn't broke. He was from his family. His uncle, Joseph of Arimathea, was a wealthy shipping magnate. Mary Magdalene was wealthy. It takes wealth for. How do you think he managed? Yeah, he was a carpenter by trade, but he took off 40 days to go into the wilderness to meditate and fast. The average working man don't have that kind of luxury. Exactly. It's a tool like a hammer or a computer. People that get stuck in religiosity often make that mistake, and it kind of angers me because they don't mind making them priests and pastors and imams wealthy beyond all belief. But for some reason, the congregants think that in order to prove their piety, they have to live in poverty, and that is a huge deception. You can't do nobody no good if you can't even take care of yourself. I hopefully am I'm in the process. I haven't realized it yet, but I'm manifesting millions of dollars because Spirit has shown me a vision that is so much bigger than myself. It's genuinely gonna take about 10 to 15 million dollars to pull it off on the scale that I need to pull it off. I'm not manifesting that money personally for me. I don't have any aspirations to be hanging off the side of a yacht sipping Cristal, but I am aware that to move and circulate and actually create an impact in people's lives, that requires money. I could go to Africa right now and go try to tell everybody the good news about Yeshua and the this and the that and everything else. And guess what? If they somewhere in the village, babies ain't got no food, they ain't got no electricity and can't keep the water on, what do they really give a shit about what I'm trying to tell them? They need somebody to put some groceries on the table. That's what the church been doing for centuries. They call it a cargo cult. And everywhere, that's the reason we have Christianity around the world, because they go into places and feed people and build buildings and do all the rest of that. And oh, by the way, come join our church. No, I wouldn't say selfishness is either, because selfishness is, Joello, selfishness is, we're not going to talk with Carlos. If you come in here talking foolishness or any filth, you will be removed. I recommend you police yourself and take that comment out of this chat right now, or be disappeared out of this chat shortly thereafter. This is your one and only warning. Hey, Antoine, how are you, my love? Welcome in and thank you. You ain't even give him the chance to self-correct. He just gone. Anybody else that come in here, I'm trying to tell you, the tolerance for foolishness is low in this chat room, and I like it that way, kind of, sort of. I do. I would not say that selfishness is the root of all evil, because selfishness is relative. And guess what? Most of the folks that are teaching selfishness are the selfish bastards that was trying to keep you enslaved. People will tell you, oh, you shouldn't be selfish, says the selfish person that's trying to manipulate you. That part. They prey on overgivers and very meek-minded, humble people by telling them that anytime they want to do anything that serves that person's own interest, that they're being selfish and wrong. You're supposed to just give till it hurts. That's because those users and takers are bleeding you dry, and they'll turn around and call you selfish if you have enough sense of self-preservation to back them the hell up off of your jugular vein so that they don't bleed you out. Then they accuse you of being selfishness, of being selfish. So no, I don't believe selfishness is the root of all evil. Not well, true selfishness, yes, but most of what is considered selfishness on this planet is very much misguided. We need to have a little more selfishness. People need to be selfish enough to understand that they have to take care of themselves first and give only up until it only to the point that it feels good and you feel inspired to give. You don't have to give to everybody that walk up with their hands stuck out, because when takers figure out that you're a giver, they will always have some kind of a crisis or a cause or something else that they will keep their hands stuck out to you. I'm living proof of that. Every time I tried to get up off my feet financially, folks would crowd around me and need this and need that. And I figure out how I need to be more considerate to my viewers. How is that, Sakaria? I am being considerate to my viewers to get people that's talking nonsense up out of the chat quickly, because I'm not even the one that doing it. My viewers are my moderators. I'm not hiring moderators. We don't. What do we need to talk about? Because you came in here, your very first thing you come up out of the comment where you're saying, let's talk, you're new to the channel, but then turn around and tell me I need to be more considerate to my viewers. If you're new, how do you know I'm not considerate to my viewers? I'm talking to you right now. State your case. Be careful, because my moderators will get rid of you if you come out here talking out the side of your neck, but you're welcome to say anything you like. Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate that. Is our reality real or a dream, Kwame? It's relative, depends on how you want to look at it, because let them tell it, all realities overlap and are simultaneous. So it could be a dream, or it could be a dream of a reality. Okay, and I stopped I'm reading comments and going down the line, commenting on all of them. And you're telling me I need to be more and I stopped what I'm doing and asked you to put your question in here, since you're telling me I need to be more considerate. But here's the thing. I was answering somebody about selfishness being the root of all evil, and you jump in here immediately after that. It ain't like it was no long drawn out wait. Rachel said hi, then you said hi. Then you said, well, let's talk. I'm new to your channel. And then immediately you said, I need to be more considerate to my viewers. What do you mean by that? Dang, Antoine. You can let them talk. I want to hear what she was talking about. I want to know. She said she was waiting patiently, but she wasn't waiting patiently. But when she come back in 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, whatever, maybe we'll find out. But you didn't have to time her out. I just wanted to hear what she had to say. Can you undelete the messages? Because I'm curious to know what she was talking about. Do you have the ability to undelete them, Antoine? Exactly. She didn't have 2 minutes to wait her turn. And you know what? I see that the most when I'm doing tarot on the live streams. They'll come into the room and just keep spamming and wanting their question heard right now, wanting it heard right now, right now, right now. And I'm like, good Lord, do you honestly think that's going to get a response out of somebody? It wouldn't work with me in real life. Why you think you could do it just because we're online? I'm in here working for free. I don't have to respond to nobody, but I'm willing to if you just give me a chance. Exactly. She'll be when the comments really get to scrolling in here, it get to be kind of hard to even keep up with the comments. So I'll be like, shoot, you just have to wait till I get to them. All I can do is read my way down the line. It amazes me though, at the people that are so self-centered and so selfish that they think the entire world revolves around them, and everyone is supposed to immediately drop everything and attend to them the very second that they have a thought come off of their out of their head into, and roll off their lips. That's really narcissistic behavior too, because my mother was kind of sort of like that. My whole life I used to be so embarrassed because she would show up to everywhere damn near 15 to 20 minutes late. And oh, it's okay, it's okay. No, the hell it ain't. People don't operate on your time and expect them to just stop everything and make room for her anyway. What do you think they make appointments for? Yeah. Now I have some ADHD tendencies, so occasionally I might be running a little behind, but truthfully, that's one area of ADHD typical tendencies that I don't have a huge problem with because it triggered me so much in childhood that I try to make it my business to be somewhere. If I'm supposed to be there at 9 o'clock, I try to make it there by 8:45, honestly. Rachel, this one is I hadn't I will add it to the playlist. In fact, I'm gonna add it right now. It's a new channel that I hadn't seen before, but it's Anubis Lotus Temple Ruins. I got a playlist on here of meditation music that I like, and I'm adding it to it now. There we go. The playlist is called MMM Meditation Music on the channel, and I ain't saying I've played everything on that list on the channel, but most of the stuff that I played while we're here will be on that list. Oh, hey, Bruce Wayne. You said you're 15 minutes ahead at all times. You have level 99 ADD and wake up completely bored. Yeah. Yo, is that what she said, Antoine? Okay. If or when she come back in, give her an opportunity to say whatever she wanted to say. If she's got a legitimate question or something, we can address it. But if she get real crazy, then yeah, she'll have to go. We don't tolerate none of that. Hey, Cooker de Grease. Peace. Hey, Pippi Longstocking. Incense. Yeah, I keep incense burning. Well, the one that I was burning when I started this just burnt out, but I keep incense on deck. I probably got enough incense in here that I could burn at least 5 or 6 sticks for the next 3 or 4 months and not run out. I keep it on me. Palo Santo I have to keep in the house. Sage I keep in the house, and I'm just used to doing that. But yeah, it's weird because now I can't use all kinds of incense anymore. I started using hemp incense back in the day, and I'm not saying it's wrong for anybody else. Whatever is good for them, that's fine. But I found over time that those carbon charcoal based incenses irritate my lungs a lot. So I use like a coreless resin incense like this one. This is frankincense, and I have a Palo Santo incense that's like that too. And sometimes I'll get like the Chinese agarwood incenses that burn really, really clean like that. And yeah, I keep incense going all day. I'm not in here. Candles too, I love. Typically though, I don't burn candles all day. I just burn candles when I'm reading tarot. The stone around my neck is saphrodite. It is a meteorite, type stone. It's like a little chunk of meteorite, and it said that it brings you closer to like connection through the veil. That is Saffordite. I think it's out of I think it's either Ukrainian or Czech stone. I can't remember where Saffordite comes from, but it is a tektite. You say you in the zone? You know what? That don't surprise me though, because I people don't understand. When I started this channel, I set a very clear and powerful intention to attract soul family. And now we do, of course, we get the trolls and we get the Christian proselytizers and the Muslim proselytizers. Interestingly enough, I haven't had very many Jewish proselytizers come in with that because, truthfully, if they really, really know Jewish history, they know I'm not lying. But most of the people that approach the channel are like-minded, kind of in a similar on a similar spiritual path, things like that. Hey, Mermaid on the Moon, I haven't heard from you in a minute either. Hello, hello to you, beautiful. Welcome, welcome. We got 17 in the room. I would really appreciate some more thumbs ups. And if you can hear me, please go to the homepage. Even if you got a duck out, I would honestly appreciate it if you would do it tonight because I'm trying to get some subscribers up on my other channel so that I'm hoping I can go live stream tonight, but they might make me do that little 24-hour timeout. But if that's the case, I'll be live streaming tomorrow on the new channel, the new old channel, whatever you want to call it. But the channel name is Anunnaki Oracle Priestess. If you go to the homepage of this channel and scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the icon under my other channel. If you would take just a moment, honestly, even if you have to leave the live stream here for a moment, I would really appreciate it if you do me that solid and go over there and subscribe to that channel and then come back in because you're not going to miss too much. We'll be here. You say you've been a busy bee? Awesome. I'm getting ready to be a busy bee because I'm trying to really get kind of locked and loaded on the tarot thing as a business, not just, I don't even want to say it's a hobby at this point because I know when I'm reading for other people that the messages are real, but like I was explaining to them, I got to stop giving away the farm and actually look at it like a business and start doing tarot to support myself. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to separate tarot a little bit off of this channel. I'll still probably do a collective reading once a week for the community here, but most of the tarot that I'll be doing will be done on Anunnaki Oracle Priestess from now on, and then we'll just keep the sacred text and those other kind of conversations here. Bruce Wayne, I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one because they claim that being behind all the time, not being on time is like an ADD kind of symptom. Because I'm with you, I'm not truly hyperactive. I could sit in meditation for 3 hours and barely move an eyelash sometimes. I fidget a lot, which I guess that's a stemming behavior. But I mean, to actually just have to get up and move, no, I don't. It's just a lot of smaller movement fidgeting. Um, but yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Rachel. Hey, Warrior Above, Within, Without, and hey, In Beings Creations. Thank you, y'all. I appreciate the subscriptions. I really do. Because, like I said, I had the day ones over there, but truthfully, that was so long ago. I had 46 subscribers, but I don't really anticipate them watching my content because they had just subscribed because I was commenting on people's channels, and then I stopped using that channel for years, and they just they're just hanging in there because they never bothered to unsubscribe. But yeah. Hey, Official Design Africa. Awesome. Welcome, welcome. But yeah, I definitely appreciate y'all subscribing over there because we gonna get locked and loaded. I really want to, I'm gonna sit and figure out a schedule as far as the types of readings we're gonna do, but I know folks wanted, I'm not Indian. Well, I'm not East Indian notification. I do have an American indigenous background. I'm Choctaw and Blackfoot, but I also have like Irish in my system, so I have no idea. Oh, butterfly, welcome, baby. Welcome, welcome. No, I'm not from India. I adorn my third eye because Lord Shiva is one of my guides. Well, Lord Enki, but his name in the Vedic pantheon is in the Hindu is Shiva. So, but I mean, honestly, when I started changing, if you will, during my spiritual journey, probably was Indian in a past life or something because I've been wearing salwar kameez and like Punjabi suits since like 2006 or 7, something like that. I mean, I literally used to order salwar kameez and things from Indian websites. I get my clothes from India, and I wear caftans and stuff now that come from China and India, but that's just the way when I started evolving spiritually, I was just led to dress a little differently. What do I do specifically? A couple different things. This channel it started out primarily as tarot until Spirit motivated me to start talking more about Yeshua's message and what was going on there. And then Yeshua led me to start talking about what Lord Enki was doing. And I started going into a lot of the ancient text and going back into the scriptures and comparing, taking notes and comparing there. And then I was inspired to go look at Zechariah Sitchin's work. So we'll be doing a lot of that. I do a lot of discussions of meditative insights here, as well as sacred texts and things like that. Um, and then, but recently, I've had folks asking me to get back more into the tarot, but it's getting to the place where trying to keep both of those niches alive on this one channel was kind of making the channel look a little messy. So they were asking me to open another tarot outlet, and Anunnaki Oracle Priestess is where the tarot is going to be. You back with your foolishness, flabber jabber? Didn't you learn last time and you ain't got nothing new to say? You don't have to permit me to do nothing, and Lord Yahweh can't permit me to do nothing because I don't worship Yahweh. So you could take that somewhere else, bro. Flabber jabber. I'm not a witch, and we don't need another fool on here talking nonsense either. But here you are. How about that? I'm doing good, Stephen. How are you? How are you, Valerie Blakely? Antoine, y'all be too quick on them. I be having fun sometimes. Antoine gave him the big time out. And it's so crazy because if they don't like what I'm doing, there are literally, quite literally, millions of channels on YouTube. Why do you keep finding your way back to mine? There's even a thing I think you can make a channel invisible to your channel if you really don't like their content. And when you're scrolling, there's a thing that you can go and ask for YouTube not to suggest that channel to you anymore. It's crazy. I understand you don't want no bad mind in here, so okay. And honestly, they ain't bother me, but yeah, they be on it. They do. Like I say, and crazy part, I do not coach them at all. They respond based on what they want, and I look at this as I'm here. I'm the teacher, I'm the mouthpiece. But if you notice, I haven't set any particular discussion. When I come into these, the conversations are steered by you all. This is your channel. This is your opportunity to ask questions, learn, grow. If it's something I don't know, I will literally write it down, go look it up, and we could talk about it on the next live stream. It's our channel. So the moderators operate on what they feel. I didn't set any kind of a threshold for what they should or shouldn't do. Antoine say he got a razor. He don't mind cutting a bitch low. He got that Queen of Swords energy, or King of Swords energy, I should say. But the Queen of Swords is the one the King of Swords is just, he's a leader, he's a powerful communicator. The Queen of Swords will cut somebody quick. Antoine say he owned it. And honestly, official design, what Flabba Jabba don't realize is, in my humble opinion, Paul is the Antichrist, so I don't have to listen to nothing that cat say. You know what I'm saying? I do go into some of the New Testament, and I will occasionally quote some of what they say because there are some good teaching moments in there. But I don't give a damn about Apostle Paul because Yeshua said that a deceiver was going to come along and lead the nations lost. And that's exactly what Paul did. I don't owe it to myself to obey Paul. And I grew up in a Christian congregation having to do all of that. But even at that, they said that women were not supposed to be teaching and preaching in the congregation or in the temple if their husbands were present and if other spiritually able-bodied men were present. But if there were not spiritually qualified men present, women could preach and teach in the congregation as long as they kept their heads covered. Hello, my head is covered, so I can teach. Butterfly says she don't want no smoke. Exactly. James Brown said, I don't know karate, but I do know Karaza. Who was that? Oh my goodness. I can't think of the guy. It was in Meet the Fockers, I think. What's the Owens? What's his name? That played the crazy patchouli hippie dude, and he said something about knowing crazy. He didn't know Karazer, but he knew crazy. Whiskey Lies. Okay, awesome. I'm glad you'll check out the channel. I appreciate you, and you have a good evening as well. You gonna be a quick in and out tonight? No worries, no worries. You're welcome at any time you see us here, or even if you come back and check out the live stream after it uploads. I leave them all public, so you'll be able to check it out later. Yep. And I also, if I can't do the live stream tonight on the other channel, I will be going in and doing some more in the Book of Enoch. We left off at chapter 34, I think. 36. We'll be starting at 37 tomorrow, or when I start back up. So yeah, we'll get back into the Book of Enoch because I'm enjoying that as well. You say you want to know more about Lord Shiva? Honestly, Cooker, I discuss him in his first pantheon when Yeshua led me to this information. And the reason I go back that way, because I get people on here all the time saying, well, what about the Egyptian pantheon? And what about the Greek pantheon? And what about the Roman? And the thing is, when I was raised reading the Bible and I was aware of all of those pantheons, but they also in our lifetime have taught us that all of that is mythology. And that always kind of irritated me too. But when I was led back to the Anunnaki story or pantheon, if you will, that's the very beginning. When you done get down to the root of the tree, you don't have to keep messing around with the branches. So I know that Lord Enki translates to Lord Shiva in the Hindu pantheon, but when he first set foot off the spaceship from Nibiru onto planet Ea, onto Earth, his name was Enki. So that's who I actually relate more to. Then I don't dabble much with the Hindu pantheon either, because they got so diverse with so many deities and the rules and I didn't really want to study that because again, that's going down more unnecessary rabbit holes. When I was already led back to the root of the tree, I just left it alone after that. But Lord Enki is actually he is the progenitor of the human race. That's one of the reasons I speak out so awesome, Stephen. Hold on a second. Yep, official design, awesome. The Hold on. Oh yeah. So back to Lord Enki. The reason I speak so loudly and so adamantly about the things that I do, because it kind of bothers me, or I recognized the irony and the hypocrisy of what the religions have done, particularly Christianity is the most egregious of them. And the reason for it is because, in my opinion, hey, Misa Garcia and Jay McD, hey, Anafon, yep. The reason I say they are the most hypocritical and the most egregious, and it's ironic and the most ironic, because it is literally the Romans who unalived Yeshua, because the Jews wanted him unalive. They just didn't want to bloody their own hands to do it. So they put the Romans up to doing it, and the Romans unalived him and then turned around 300 years later and used him as a mascot, or the bridge, so to speak, to carry the at that point Yahweh worship was very centralized to the Jews, and they used the murder of Yeshua to bridge the gap from taking Yahweh to a very centralized storm god to spawn him out onto the world as this new remixed Jehovah. And they did that. They perpetrated a lie to do that. And they got people believing that it's a good thing that they killed him for our sins, to buy back our sins. It's the propitiatory sacrifice necessary to cover our sins. And that's such a load of crock of nonsense. What God, this supposedly the Alpha and the Omega and knows everything, created humans that are faulty, and then to cover up his faulty design flow, you on real ignorance, gangland. That's just absolute ignorance. You won't be on here very long if you say one more slick thing. We don't do that here. All humans are the same. And anybody that's so unintelligent that they're still spewing racism, in this, they can't even be remotely considered spiritual. But the Romans used that story and then laced a whole bunch of other pagan traditions and stories around it, because Constantine was not remotely interested in Yeshua at all as far as a religion. Constantine was a sun worshiper. He worshiped the sun in the sky. That's why the cross is the symbol of Christianity. It don't have jack diddly to do with how Yeshua was put to death. It doesn't. The cross is a symbol of sun worship. People should do their homework and stop just believing the lies that they're told from the pulpit. But Constantine also had a problem on his hands because there were so many little scattered religions around. He wanted to create a unified religion. So he called the Council of Nicaea, and they sat down and literally wrote this religion, and they used Yeshua, who there were a number of followers. They called them the presbyters. They were still following Christ's teachings, but they were a ragtag kind of bunch, and they really couldn't get any real solid footing in the area. But he invited them to come in and put their 2 cents worth in while they were making the religion, but they didn't really come up with ideas that they felt were usable. So after 17 months of giving them a shot at it, he kind of dismissed them and went with his own crew, and they wrote Christianity. Now, when they wound up doing that, that's kind of like, what was that? I think it was it Eisenhower or Hoover, whichever one of them said that I'll have them N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years, and he did it. That's exactly what Yahweh's people wound up doing to Yeshua. Not only did they unalive him, I'll have these fools turn around and worship in the same, Yeshua wanted to call Yahweh the devil. Well, guess what? We're going to have his followers worshiping that same devil for the next 2,000-3,000 years, and they're going to be thanking us and paying us for the privilege to do it. And that's exactly what they did. They have perpetrated one of the greatest frauds that's ever been committed to humanity right there in the name of our salvation and our religion. Because the Elohim that they got us worshiping, this Yahweh cat, is the absolute worst one of all the Elohim. He is the one that despises humanity. He is the one that has advocated for our absolute annihilation multiple times. He didn't have nothing to do with the genetic project. He didn't have nothing to do with nothing. His name, he told Abraham, he is El Elyon, the destroyer. Don't get it twisted. And they said when you go back, I saw a meme today. The dude was talking about, and he was wrong as two left shoes, because he was saying that the real name of God is Yehoshua, which is Yeshua's name, but that Yahweh, that YHWH, that Yah meant destroyer. It does mean destroyer, because that's what Yahweh is and was. That part. You said when they painted the sign on the sign, did they won? What is you talking about, Anafan? I'm not sure. Gangland will be reborn as a black buffalo. Oh, goodness. Oh, that's funny. But honestly, that's kind of sort of how karma works, right? He may not be a black buffalo, but he gonna be a black something. Probably a black. Oh, would it be? I don't know. By the time he actually come back through the rebirth cycle, it probably won't matter whether he would be a black man or a black woman. But whatever he gonna be, it's gonna be whatever the flavor of the month ain't this week. Yeah, it's gonna be that, because that's what karma says is gonna happen. You said Genesis is the generations of Isis. Yeah, the Anunnaki bloodline. We talked about that a few live streams ago when it occurred to me. I was reading something and I went back for it. I was looking for some other scripture and I went back to Genesis chapter 5, and I noticed that all of the names that were listed in Genesis chapter 5 were also listed in the Lost Book of Enki as being Anunnaki hybrids. Genesis in general is the genes of Isis, but chapter 5 should be probably called the exploits of Enki. Enki got down like that. I love him, but he didn't keep his thing in his pants very much at all, or his tongue in his mouth, however he made him. He had a lot of blow by children with humans running around on this planet. Now, some of it was done to shore up our bloodline. The Adamic bloodline was shown to be devolving rather rapidly. So he made the choice to shore up the bloodline by selectively mating with certain humans. But some of it was just done because he was a horn dog too. I mean, he had children by his wife, his sister, Adapa, Dawn and Dusk, and this, what, that, what. Yeah, he but I mean, in every pantheon he's shown up in, he is very handsome. So I can't say, you know what I mean? You can't be crushing on a god. But somebody was asking me about what I consider handsome. Every pantheon I've ever seen, yeah, Enki is handsome. He is gorgeous. So why not it? And again, their morality wasn't like ours. A hawk. He said a hawk in Mississippi. I'm trying to see. You said when they painted the sign on the sign. I'm not. Let me see if I can see what you're talking about. The translator didn't work. On a phone, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. If you can answer, get the question with the Romans, basically are the ones who created Catholicism, which is like one of the earliest forms of Christianity. That and was it the Greek Orthodox and Constantine and all of that stuff. The control Christianity period is Yahweh worship. It is the next evolution, if you will, of Yahweh worship. The Jews worshiped him as Yahweh. Christians worship him as Jehovah. But no matter what you call Lord Enki, he's the devil. And Yeshua told the Jews that he was the devil. And they hated him so much for saying that they wanted him unalive. And that's what they did. Yahweh don't have no love for us, boo. He really don't. People don't know that they're worshiping the devil. And the scriptures tell you, they hide the truth in plain sight and put it right there in the book. And most people won't understand what they're reading. It tells them right in that book that the whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one. I forgot that scripture. I think it's somewhere in Corinthians, if I'm not mistaken, Ephesians, Corinthians, somewhere. But the whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one. And they still don't get it. Uh, Face, you have no idea what you're talking about. In many places of the world, an open smile is considered attractive. And whether it is or whether it isn't, if you petty enough to come and attack a stranger, at least I got some teeth. How much hair do you have? What do your face look like? Bet your feet look jacked up too. See, if I start attacking your body parts, that doesn't feel really good. And it's a sign of unintelligence. So I'm not actually doing that. But that's how much sense that makes for you to come in here and talk about a stranger's gap in their teeth. There's plenty of folks in the world that have a gap in their teeth. All of the women in my family have it. And as that, I wear it as a badge of honor. I deliberately did not allow a dentist to close the gap in my teeth. So you can go head on with that nonsense, face. But thank you. There's folks in Hollywood that got millions of dollars and got a gap in their teeth still. So the fact that you silly enough to even think that that's a comment worth commenting on lets you know you don't know what the hell going on in the world. Honestly, yeah. In being's creation, most of the world has. That's why I say I get passionate about what I'm talking about, but I'm not coming down on any one individual, because here's the thing. I don't want you to feel bad. It's okay. On a front, I'm hoping that will answer your questions, or you'll get the translator to work. But in beings, the reason we worship and pray to anything is because Enlil, Yahweh, the one, two contributions, if you will, to the whole Adamu project. When he came here, his titles was Lord of the Command. He's a warrior. He is a warrior god with a nasty temper that did not really want humans. He can't stand us. He thought we should be slaves. He looks at us as very little more than animals. He did not mate with humans. He interacts as little as he could. And his contribution to the whole Adamu project was to write rules that he wanted. Rule number one, he insisted that we have a worship gene installed in our DNA to make us have a propensity to worship them. And then we were told his next rule was that the other Elohim we could never see their faces. Anytime they interacted with us, it had to be through another messenger. That's why we have put so much store in the angels, because there were other lower Anunnaki who could interact with us, but they would appear as angels. But the big dogs that was running the show, we could never see their faces. We had a worship gene put in us to make us worship them, and that we were never to be told that they're not gods. They deliberately lied to us and told us that they're gods. That's why we pray to people. We don't have to. I mean, I do talk to Lord Enki, but the bowing and the scraping and all the sacrificing and all that stuff that Yahweh requires, no, none of the other Elohim required all of that. The creator of all, who actually made this planet, don't even require that of us. That's a Yahweh thing. So once we're able to turn off our worship gene, you can stop all the praying and genuflecting. I've been programmed and trained to pray too. So like I say, if I'm not saying you don't want to communicate with them at all, and it should be respectful. So in that aspect, like you said, it's kind of praying to the wrong God, but you can relax the stance. You don't have to just shift all of that stuff you was doing for Yahweh and then figure out how to translate all of that to Lord Enki, because he doesn't require that level of worship. Cooperation and respect, yes. Communication, yes. But the bowing and scraping and ritual, genuflecting, worship and all, no. No. You said you rescued a fighting fish. He was transparent, so you named him Glass. You gave him Your time, love. Now he's pitch black with blue mermaid scales and neon prisms, love and light. Awesome. That's cool. I never knew that. Hey, Soraya, how are you? Antoine, you still mad at Gangland? He'd be all right. Oh. Mermaid, if you want to be a moderator, if you're going to be around for a while, I can make you a mod. When Flabba Jabba come back, you can do the honors if you want to. The three pillars of Europe: Roman law, Greek democracy, and Christians. Yeah, pretty much. And all of them are not really good for the people. It is kind of sad. They honestly, but what is it? Paul Wallace said, "When worshiping a monster makes monsters out of us." Because Flabba Jabba and that other fool would probably consider themselves good Christians or something, because they wouldn't even have no need to come in here with that kind of hate unless they was mad about whatever. And usually, what makes them that mad is their proselytizing nature. Christians have no problem tormenting other people. They think it's cool to do that in the name of their God. They don't have no problem with waging war in the name of that God. They don't have no problem with killing people in the name of that God. But yet they turn around and talk about Muslims and Jews. They're all basically they're all just as hateful and just as violent because they worship a hateful, violent God. Yeah, Anafan, he was always a general. Every pantheon he has shown up in, he was either violent and warmongering or lustful and lazy, because he did the thing as Dionysus and Bacchus, but even at that, very immoral, amoral, not with good intentions for humanity. And in the Roman pantheon, excuse me, when the Roman pantheon is Zeus, he eat one of his children? That part. Why would anybody want to worship somebody that not only don't have a problem telling you to sacrifice your children to him, because he did that to Abraham, promised Abraham a son in his old age, finally gave him the son in his old age after 25 years. And by the time the boy got old enough to walk and talk and be of any use to Abraham, now that Abraham is almost over 100 years old, turn around and tell him to go up to the mountain, take him up there and sacrifice him to me to prove your loyalty to him. And then he turned around in John 3:16 and claimed that he sacrificed Yeshua as his son. Now, Yeshua is not his son, but that's the lie he told, that he's willing to sacrifice his own children to cover his design flaws. Why would we choose to worship somebody like that? Probably, if he don't get his attitude together, he actually might be. Where do I get these stories from, Scripture Nest? From the scriptures, from the Anunnaki text, from the Sumerian text, from the Babylonian texts, but primarily the Anunnaki and the Sumerian text. By the time they get to the Babylonians, they start taking a lot of self-aggrandizing creative license, because Marduk was on the scene then, and he was just as power hungry as Yahweh was. So he's on a lot of that. Where was you when I did this and I did that? He claimed he fought Tiamat, and he won't even pimple on his daddy's behind when Tiamat was destroyed. But by the time the Babylonians finished telling that tale, he does. But the Anunnaki were not appearing to do a lot of fictionalizing of their history. They just did a lot of documenting and record keeping, because they were here on a groundbreaking scientific expedition with an unprecedented experiment that they did called the Adamu Project. They didn't say they officially called it that, but in the process of this coming to Earth to mine this gold for Nibiru to save their home planet, they wound up creating this genetically modified. Well, they didn't create the hominid. They found the hominid already here and genetically modified that hominid with their Anunnaki DNA to create an intelligent worker to help them work in the gold mines. That is Homo sapiens sapiens, and they documented it very carefully. And much of what we call sacred text, just like someone mentioned before, we call it Genesis. It is the genes of Isis, because like Lord Enki was the primary geneticist on that project. Ninma, whose other name was Ninhursag, whose other name ultimately became Isis, was the second geneticist on that project. That is Enki's sister. And then Enki's son, Ningish Zeta, whose other name is Thoth, was the third geneticist on that project. Lord Enlil, who later became known as Yahweh, had zero actual scientific input in the creation of Homo sapiens sapiens. When they say, let us make man in our image in Genesis chapter 2, that is Lord Enki and Ninmah and Thoth having a conversation. It is not the everlasting Alpha Omega Sky Daddy just having a third person conversation with himself. Christianity has lied and bamboozled you. That's where I get those stories from, those scripture nests. Alalu fought Anu for the throne. Yep, he got banished from Nibiru. He took a ship and came to Earth and found gold because he felt like, well, if he was a hero, they might let him back in power. And he negotiated. He said, if I go to, now that I've made it to Earth, if I show y'all and prove to you that the gold is here, I want command of Earth. And they told him they would give him command of Earth. But then Anu turned around and backed out of that and sent his two sons, Enki and Enlil, to go, and sent their sister and his nephew with them to go to Earth to go check it out. And they brought 50 soldiers, if you will, or workers. He called them his lieutenants and stuff to help out in the initial project. They all came to Earth, and when they got here, they reneged on the agreement that they had with Alalu. Alalu was pissed off. Anu came to Earth to see what was going on, and Alalu challenged Anu again, and then got mad when he lost the fight and bit Anu's private parts off, and they exiled him to die on Mars. That face you see on Mars is a shrine to Alalu, because they eventually did make a way station and all that there. But once he died on Mars, they actually created a proper shrine for him, because he had been ruler of Nibiru at one point. It's just Anu challenged him for the throne because he really was mismanaging things in this desperation to get to this goal. And Anu became the ruler on Nibiru after that. Scripture nest, the lost book of Enki, and you ain't gotta reach far. I actually read the book. It's on the channel. I have a playlist on this channel that talks about all of this. If you go to Astral Legends TV, they've done a semi animated narration of the lost book of Enki. They also have one on Anunnaki Ancient Astronaut, as well as Anunnaki Ancient Mystery. I believe all of them have done a summarized animated version of the lost book of Enki, but I literally read the entire book and discussed it right here on this channel, and there is a playlist called The Lost Book of Enki. You can go to it and check that out if you want to. And it's ENKI, scripture nest, not IN. I had somebody, I actually commented, I can't remember who it was. Somebody commented on the channel on one of the videos a few days ago, and they were like, Lord Enki, LMFAO or whatever, and they put INKY as if it was funny. And I'm like, y'all get upset when I talk about that no account, no good Yahweh, like I'm being disrespectful and I'm being blasphemous. But Lord Enki is our actual progenitor, and y'all laugh your ass off at his name. So disrespectful. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a gap in the teeth. Some people have it, some people don't. It's just something that's different. He was just on his idiocy. No, there is a false God, honey. Anafan, there is absolutely a false God. Yahweh is not a God, and is not only one with many names. Yahweh, there was a whole bunch of them. You really think that the one God had female names too? No, it wasn't. They were Anunnaki beings who in cooperation with Yahweh's determination that they should lie to us, they were presented to us as gods. But there was Isis, and there was Diana, and this one, and there were several female gods as well as several male gods. But what we call gods in the actual translation should be Elohim, and the word Elohim does not mean God, it means powerful ones. So we've been deceived by those who promote religion, but to say that there's only one God with many names, that's not entirely true. Yeah. And it's not many mistakes have been made in his name, and many lies were told in his name at his insistence. He's a liar and the father of the lie, according to Yeshua in John chapter 8. It wasn't a mistake, Anafan. Yahweh, that God y'all are worshiping, Jehovah, he is a liar. He is a manslayer. He hates humanity. He does not keep his word. He is very deceptive and manipulative. He has been a bad character through every single pantheon he has ever been represented in. In fact, he acted so bad that his Anunnaki brothers and sisters and cousins actually exiled him. That's why when he came back up to the Jews, he had to rescue them out of Egypt to get a people and then promise them the land of Canaan, even though he had promised it to them 500 years before and never gave it to them. He came back with that same lie, dangling that carrot, that promise of land in front of them, because he had been exiled. And when he came out of exile, he did not have a people and he did not have a land. So as much as he hated humans, he had to get a people and a land in order for him to have somebody to wait on him hand and foot, because Yahweh is also a lazy son of somebody that loves barbecue but don't want to work for himself. He wanted a host of people to wait on him hand and foot. So he had to tolerate nasty, disgusting humans, and the best way to do that was to enslave them in worship, to have them in fear of him and bowing and scraping and worshiping. And he built into his rules of worship that they had to give 10% of everything that they bring in as a tithe to him. Hey, Takako. Zeus did in the Pantheon psychiatric technician. Go check it out. I didn't make that story up. I'm old, but I'm not that old. But Zeus ate one of his children in the story. And they do, though at that point, they were representing the Anunnaki beings. And Zeus is a representation of Yahweh, Jehovah. Like Poseidon is a representation of Lord Enki. Mm-hmm. That's wonderful, mermaid. I'm just trying to catch up on the comments. Avery 420. I don't must never, you don't come back, can't tell me what I must never do. We don't have, there is no real scriptural obligation not to cut your hair. That's some foolishness humans came up with. I don't have to follow by other people's misguided rules. Tell somebody that they must never eat food that contains red oil. Palm oil is red, and I can eat it if I choose to. There's no I don't have a scripture or a spiritual restriction upon me because I chose to follow some jacked up religion that put arbitrary restraints on me like that. I don't have to do that. So you can go and not cut your hair if you don't want to. And you can avoid all food that contains red oil if you want to, but there's no scriptural basis for me doing that. And even if there were, I'm not Christian, so I don't have to live by somebody else's jacked up rules. Exactly, Stephen. It was mixed up for control. He didn't actually sacrifice his son, but my point is, What the hell kind of God would tell you to do that? Can you imagine the emotional turmoil this man went through for days thinking that he was going to have to do that? Yahweh told him that he had to sit on that knowledge for a few days and then start trekking up this mountain. And by this time, this man is almost 100 years old, and he's walking up this mountain with this child to the point that the child was even questioning, well, Daddy, you saying we're going to make a sacrifice to Yahweh? Where's the sacrifice? The son was getting nervous because he noticed something was wrong too. So no, he didn't do it. And the preachers tell us that story like it's all good for Yahweh to have tested his faith like that. I'm calling bullshit. It was horribly sadistic for Yahweh to do that to that man. Who the world gonna sit there and tell you you got to unalive your child in order to prove your faith to me? And then we turn around for thousands of years and nodding because the preacher tell us like that's a good thing. That's nonsense. We have been bamboozled into believing and adopting the nasty depravity of a monster if we accept that as a good thing. Antoine, you let him go. Let him go. He'll be all right. Oh. You said, no, this story ain't related to the scramble of Africa cooker. This story is related to the entire bamboozling and the scrambling of the entire world. It ain't just Africa, baby. Life started on Africa, but the moment Christianity started spewing this lie out into the rest of the world, it went all around this planet, unaliving people and forcing them to accept Christianity. 3/4 of the population of this planet currently worship that devil in one form or another, whether they call him Allah, El, or Yahweh, or Jehovah. The Muslims, the Christians, and the Jews all worship this clown. So it's not just Africa. Hey, Jasmine Turner Ba, how are you? First off, Jasmine, we're not discussing tarot here. Second off, if the pregnancy test is negative, go take another one. I'm not a physician. Of course, it could be wrong. Is it wrong? I don't know. But to consult a tarot reader about your pregnancy test rather than taking another pregnancy test is a little foolish, wouldn't you say? I ain't trying to be funny or offensive. But what if I tell you that the pregnancy test is wrong and then you walk around thinking you pregnant for 6 months and don't never have no baby? I don't know whether you're pregnant, my love. If you've been doing the do and you want to be pregnant and the test says it isn't, I would recommend getting you at least 2 more tests, wait a few days and take it again, wait a week or so and take it again and see what happens. Sometimes it takes a little time for those hormone levels to rise up. I got a set of twins that are 30 years old this year. And I was almost 13 weeks pregnant before I found out. I had taken 3 pregnancy tests that said I was not pregnant until I finally went to the doctor and found out that not only was I pregnant, I was having twins. So I'm not going to lay my tarot sensibilities on the line for that. Go to the doctor or go get a test and see. You said they came to peace on Nibiru's king from the north, queen from the south. Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't even about coming to peace when they set it up, Stephen, in order to make sure that they unified, because it was 2 main factions of people that settled on Nibiru. 2 sets of people that had both lost their home planets in the galactic wars. And they settled on Nibiru. And after a while, when they wanted to unify, they decided that they would choose their king by lot and a queen. And they said, if by lot, if the king came from the north, then the queen would come from the south. If the king came from the south, then the queen would come from the north. But either way, they were going to blend those 2 communities to create one community. And that's when they began to call themselves the Atlanteans. Exactly, M Beans, because he ain't truly a god. He's a jealous miscreant. He's a very much a sycophant who called himself a god, and he said that he was jealous. He was jealous of his brother. He was jealous of his sisters. He was jealous of his nephew. He wanted power and control. He was so nasty till he was hated. He's a storm god, but he wanted exclusive power and control because he is jealous. Jealousy is not the sign of an actual God. That is the sign of a being who has control issues and an inferiority complex. But he lied and told us he was God anyway, and we just chose to. Well, we didn't believe it. I don't believe it anymore. But Abraham and Moses believed it, so now billions of people around the planet believe it too, because them two cats got shim shammied, flim flammied. Lord, Antoine, you over here doing spells in what, in Hindi? Don't do it to him. I'm talking Zane King. I'm talking about all of the Abrahamic religions, because the beings that I talk about, the Anunnaki, are the first beings that settled here on this planet. And as they branched out over thousands and thousands of years, pantheons and religions were formed on this planet. But as I'm discussing them, I went all the way back to the very beginning. The one who is known, there were two brothers that landed here at the same time, Enlil and Enki. Enki is most known, the names that he was most known by, I'd have to dig up some more of them, but he is known as Loki in the Nordic pantheon. He's Poseidon in the Greek pantheon. He's Ptah in the Egyptian pantheon, and he is Lord Shiva in the Hindu pantheon. The other brother is Lord Enlil. He is known, one of his titles when he got here was Satan of the Eden. That is a title. It don't mean redhead devil like we were told later. Satan of the Eden. He was like the governor or vizier, if you will, of the Eden territory when they first got here. He was also known as Odin, Zeus, Yaldabaoth, Dionysus, Bacchus, Beelzebub. Yeah, he's been known as a lot of things too. But then by the time he finally gets up, because you got to remember, in this history, we look at all of this like it's ancient history. The Jews came along and unified. By the time they started worshiping Yahweh, this was about 2,500 years ago. And then 2,000 years ago, they segued into this it segued from Yahweh worship into Jehovah worship with the advent of, truthfully, it would have been almost 600 years or 700 years after that, because they came along 500 BC, and then by 295 AD is when Christianity officially became a thing under Constantine. And that's when they bridged the gap from Yahweh worship and molded it or morphed it, if you will, into Jehovah worship. And then about 500 or 600 AD, along come the Muslims with Yahweh, with Allah worship. And Allah is not an exact correlation back to Yahweh, but it is a correlation back to El, which is one of the older, I don't remember if it was under the Babylonian or Mycenaean or whatever, but El does branch back to Yahweh, or one of the iterations that Enlil was called as well. So it is the same being under three separate religions and names, but all three of them are worshiping this dragon. And the scriptures say the whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one. The rest of the planet, the Buddhists, the Jainists, the Taoists, and all of them, those are Enkiite philosophies. They're not religions per se, they are philosophies, and they are very much more peaceful, equanimable, not as misogynistic and all the rest of that. They follow the teachings of Lord Enki. And the rest of the planet is following Lord Enlil to their doom and destruction. We ain't had no peace on this planet, like talking about it, for any real sustainable amount of time since Yahweh took over. I'm sure you were told a story differently on a fauna. Most of the world was. Hey Joyce, awesome, awesome. Good to see you. And yeah, it is a beauty mart. Zane King, according to the information out there, most of the world believed he was a god. We're told they're gods, but religion turned around and told us that that's all mythology. But I wondered as a child, why is it that all of a sudden Christianity comes along and then everything else prior to Christianity has been kind of tongue-in-cheek dismissed as myth, but Christianity is supposedly real? If Christianity is real, then the rest of them is real too. So why would you ask, do I believe Zeus is a god? Zeus is just as much or just as little as a god as Yahweh, because it's the same damn person. But no, I don't believe he's a God, just like I don't believe Yahweh is a God. Jehovah, no, not a God. An Anunnaki being who dared to come here and play God, who got on his ego trip and lied and insisted that we view him as a God, and had a lot of flashbang technology that scared primitive people back then into believing that he was a God. But an actual God, no, I do not believe that Zeus, Yahweh, Enlil, Jehovah is an actual God. No, I don't. No, I do not believe. I don't. We talking about what religion do I believe in? None of them. I've been released from religion and religiosity. I believe in spirituality. If I had to choose a philosophy to follow or indoctrinate myself with, it would be Buddhism. But I glean from all of the spiritual traditions, but I'm not indoctrinated in any of them. I don't believe in the ceremony and this tithing and the offerings and the sacrifices and all. I don't have to do that anymore. I'm free. My worship gene has been turned off, off, off. I don't have to do that anymore. Big Burnett, no, I don't imagine none of that stuff because again, I turned my worship gene off. Lord Enki has let me know that it's perfectly okay for me to do that, and I did. I don't have to be scared about what Yahweh gonna do, because I do still read the book. I understand what they gonna do to him in the end. They put that stuff in the book for a reason. And in Revelation, if you read the book with true understanding, you would understand why I'm not worshiping Yahweh no more, because that's the same cat that they're going to destroy in chapter 20 of Revelation. It tells you that Satan, the devil, that dragon, would be bound for 1,000 years, then he would be released to do his worst, and then he's going to be destroyed. Michael and all of them are going to come back. You know what? Zane King, and a plane could pass between your two brain cells too. We having a real conversation, and you ain't even got enough sense to go back and read the other conversation that's noticed that some other idiot had the nerve to say the same thing. And if you was from anywhere on the earth, you would know that in plenty parts of the world, a gap in between the teeth is known as a beauty symbol. It's called an open smile. So I still have some teeth, and for that I'm grateful. I got more teeth than you got sense. And it's extremely rude because you can say what you will or want to. I know I'm not ugly, honey. And my smile isn't ugly either, and I don't have to be ashamed of it. But how horrible to be such a petty, little minded person that you would come into a stranger's house and insult them to try to make them feel bad about the way they look, and you don't even know them from a can of paint. You're pathetic, Zane King. I don't need nothing on no stick. I don't need none of that, Big Burnett. You talking like something wrong with your with your medulla oblongata as well. I don't know what you talking about, but all right then. You on 25%? Okay, well, say goodnight then, Anafon. Maybe him next time. Hey, Jasmine Turner. That's good. I don't know, Barav, the first religion on earth. Who knows? Because again, they was worshiping a bunch of them. I don't know exactly which one came first. By the time Abraham decided to choose Yahweh, according to the scriptures, they were already worshiping Isis. They were worshiping Nanar Sin, the moon god. Some were worshiping Enki, some were worshiping Thoth. Look at the Sumerian kings list; it'll give you an idea. But which came first, the chicken or the egg? It really don't even matter. This idea that we got to know the first of it. What the hell difference do it make if you're learning that all of them were lying? We should not be worshiping any of them. What difference does it make which one was the first if they're all a lie? Hey, Patricia Snell, how are you? 67-year-old stalker? Yes, I'm saying that they were actually men with whatever form they came here with from Nibiru. Now, did they have and they may be, they're saying, some people have said that Yahweh was like a sixth dimensional being from the central sun. Some people say that Enki had roots and had some Venusian roots as well. They were from other star systems because the Niborians were not a pure race of people, if you will. They were very much a diverse culture of people because they were basically refugees from the Anunnaki wars. They had people from all kinds of star systems settled on Nibiru, but they were not gods. They were actual beings with actual bodies that could breathe actual oxygen and drink water and sleep with humans and all the rest. Now, some of them slept with humans with disastrous results. Read the book of Enoch, what happened with the Watchers. But some of them had DNA profiles that were compatible with us. We are who we are because of their DNA profiles. We were a hominid, an unintelligent hominid covered in hair, according to Lord Enki when they got here. At best, we were probably Australopithecus or somewhere in that evolutionary chain, a good 3 or 4 million years away from any kind of sentience or intelligence. They boosted our evolutionary timeline by at least 2 million years by merging their DNA with our DNA and creating Homo sapiens sapiens in what they called the House of Life. The story, then they wrote the story down and documented it. And parts of the story have been redacted and remixed and given to us as the Genesis story. But Lord Enki felt so bad about the lies being perpetrated and the shit that they had done that he wrote a book called The Lost Book of Enki and had it hidden away with the idea that in time someone would find it and translate it and he would be able to help set the record straight. And in the mid part of the 20th century, Zechariah Sitchin was the one who was honored with that task of translating that document because he was very uniquely suited to do it. He was born in an area of the world that he was able to read ancient Hebrew and Aramaic, and he could decipher Sumerian and Babylonian cuneiform. And he was given the privilege and the honor of translating those works, and he continued to write about what he discovered in the Anunnaki text for the rest of his life. He wrote about 15 books about it. I got all of them back there on the shelf, and we're going to get into them one by one. No, that 6,000 year thing is a complete lie, Anafon. That's what Christianity told us in their ignorance because they did not want to accept the Babylonian text. And to be fair, a lot of those texts had not been unearthed yet when they started telling that 6,000 year lie. But truthfully, our history through the Anunnaki text go back 445,000 years at least. Our current story as civilized man since Adapa and Titi came along is about 11 or 12,000 years. But Thoth ruled for 36,000 years in Egypt alone, and then he went over into the Mayan lands under the names of Kukulkan and Quetzalcoatl. 67-year-old stalker, that level of, I'm curious too, but how are any of us ever gonna know? They didn't leave us no Polaroids behind. Now you can go back and look at some of the ancient depictions of ancient artwork and you might get an idea. Again, I don't see that. Look at the depictions of how they look at Zeus and Odin and stuff, and you'll have somewhat of an idea. That's what I did. Poseidon, Ptah, and Lord Shiva all have some similarities. They all have the trident. Poseidon and Olokun show up with the water and all that. He was known as Lord of the Waters. So is it exact? No, we didn't have any photographic evidence, but if you go and look at the depictions from some of the ancient artwork, you'll have an idea of what Enlil looked like. Jeremy Lin, I have no idea what you're talking about Pakistan having a great pilot and all of it. You just popped up in here with some random stuff, but we ain't even going there. I'm not getting into that mess at all. The reason NASA hasn't discovered it is because they don't want to tell you about it. If you really believe NASA don't know where Nibiru is or what Nibiru is, you're more naive than I thought, 67-year-old stalker. Planet X was seen on the cover of Time magazine back in 1945. Now, they might be done slipped the timeline and redacted that. That might be a Mandela effect. You might not be able to find it anymore. But I guarantee you, NASA knows about Nibiru. They're just not telling you. It's right on the other side of Pluto. We just got the ability to understand that Pluto is there within my lifetime. So if we don't have the technology to see something, you think it don't exist just because we don't see it? You can't see electricity either, but if you stick your finger in a light socket, you'll damn sure feel it. That's a very narrow-minded view to think that because NASA hasn't officially told you about it, it don't exist or it must be invisible. No, we are about 100 million years behind their tech. Well, no, we're actually about 1 million years behind their technology. So our little puny human brains and our little puny tinker toys and our little puny scientific experiments and advancement haven't advanced to the point yet that we can necessarily see Nibiru, but that don't mean it's not there. Didn't nobody just make that up out their own mind? NASA and our government been lying to us for the longest. Let them tell it. They ain't got nothing to see over there in Area 51 either. Remember that part? And all of them sightings that people been seeing for the last 75 years, every time you turn on the TV, somebody seeing a UFO or something somewhere, and they turn around and tell you, oh, nothing to see here, it's just a weather balloon. Oh, I remember very much the church talking about the 6,000-year story, though. That was what I grew up believing. That's what I was taught as a child, that humans' history is only 6,000 years old. And while, to be perfectly honest with you, it occurred to me at some point again, and again, I'm not saying this to be racist, but it's probably we're told that because the Caucasian humans' history is probably 6,000 years old. Melanated peoples have been all over this planet all along. And again, not saying I'm not playing the race card to be racist. I understand that Caucasian, the what we call Caucasianism is basically a group of people that sequestered so long and inbred for so long that they bred out most of their recessive traits became their dominant traits. Black people can have light-skinned babies with blue eyes and silky hair and thin lips and noses too, but they're recessive traits. But when you take a whole bunch of people that continue to breed within a common gene pool long enough, recessive traits will begin to become dominant traits. That's just basic genetic reasoning. Well, guess what, 67-year-old stalker? It must be a reason for that, because I promise you, I don't know Billy Carson. I've read and listened to some of his work, but I'm not an avid follower to be saying it word for word. So I got my own stuff here I talk about. I have looked at some of his stuff. We went through Billy Carson's Compendium of the Emerald Tablets because it was a good way that they broke down the stanza and verse. But I had gone through the Emerald Tablets a few times before I ever knew who a Billy Carson was. I'm not the only one saying these things, because they've been discovering these things for over 100 years on this planet now. Rudolf Steiner was talking about the Lord and the Lord God in Genesis chapter 2 100 years ago, literally 100 years ago this year. The Emerald Tablets of Thoth were translated and discovered and translated 97 years ago. There's a reason this outpouring of these different ancient texts are coming about, because all of the theologians that, well, I ain't gonna say true theologians, understand this. And that was the thing. When I started studying and I got an opportunity to talk to several seminary trained priests and preachers, and they all said that, yeah, they taught that in seminary, but they also taught not to teach it from the pulpit lest they confuse the people. In other words, lest people find out the truth and stop paying them their money and parking their butts in their seats. That part. But for years I heard about the Dead Sea Scrolls, and people act like the Dead Sea Scrolls was the only text that they found out there. No, boo. They found a way more than just the biblical manuscripts when they started digging that stuff up. They found the library at Nag Hammadi, the library at Nineveh, and at this point in the game, because they haven't stopped digging for about the last 200 years, they literally have a backlog of over 250,000 ancient texts. Now, obviously, all of them aren't sacred texts. Some of them are court documents, grocery lists, trash, whatever. But there are thousands and thousands of what we would consider important ancient texts that have been uncovered. Religion wants to keep us stuck believing that there's really nothing else to see. They got all the truth, all the nuggets that they need to know. They done already wrapped up in that Bible that they put together 500 years ago, and that's that. It's more to the story. Hey, Niana, how are you? Exactly, Niana. The Dogons knew before NASA. The Dogon people of Mali have talked about the fish people, the Nomo from Sirius B. They've been talking about that and holding the wisdom of the Nomo for 500 years. It was only in the middle of the last century, when they built the Hubble telescope, that they were able to check the Nomo's coordinates to prove where Sirius B was, because we didn't have the telescopic capacity to do it. But the Dogon people knew about it for 500 years, and they still live in mud huts to this day. They've chosen to keep themselves separate from modern society, but they knew about the fish people from Sirius B 500 years ago. Y'all don't even understand how trying to cling to religion keeps you stuck in ignorance. You can see electricity when it shock your ass when you working. Yep, that part. By the time you see it, it's kind of like when a lightning strike. They say if you hear the thunder, you all right. If you see it in the lightning and don't hear the thunder, you might have a problem. Hey, Weston, how are you, my love? It's good to see you in here. Ooh, I ain't even get to see 1010 Josiah, but it'd be all right. Hey, Jessica Rice. You needed some calm? Awesome, awesome. Hey, Basil, I'm doing good. How are you? I ain't even see Sun Myung. Yep, Chariot of the Gods is another one. That documentary is here. It's on YouTube if y'all ain't never seen it. I recommend that. I also recommend going to seeing Cosmic Secret. That's another one that's here. And they know in theory anyway, because like I said, we don't have the technology to prove it yet, but they know mathematically, theoretically, however they come up with what they come up with, that we are a very, very small galaxy in a sea of literally potentially millions of galaxies. And wherever, if we could get to the edge of the universe, it's ever expanding. So you quite honestly will never get to the edge of the universe. Enoch said he was taken there in vision, but you would have to be escorted there by an angel to see the edge of the universe because it's ever expanding. I'm reading some of the Gnostic Gospel per se, MBs. I've looked into parts of it, but to say I've read the entire Gnostic Gospels, no. And the reason for that is because there's so much information, like I was explaining to somebody else. When Yeshua started coming to, when I became clairaudiently linked with Yeshua, and he brought me all the way back to the beginning, to the Anunnaki text, there was no further need for me to continue digging around in other later text, even more confusing. And I'm not saying there's no benefit in the Gnostic text, but if you don't really have a solid foundation, some of the Gnostic teachings can be confusing as well, because there is still, to some degree, is shifting religiosity from one area to another. And the whole point of what going all the way back to the beginning of making the initial choice between Enlil and Enki is quite literally making the choice between the need to worship and the need to not. A lot of the Gnostic texts still are somewhat ensconced, even though they do understand that Yahweh is Yaldabaoth and not good and all the rest of that, is still a little bit sticky on the side of religiosity. So I didn't want to confuse myself. And more importantly, as I start talking about this stuff, I didn't really want to confuse the people that I'm trying to teach something about. So I just kept it simple. Yeshua took me back to the Anunnaki text. So I stopped digging around in the Egyptian pantheon and the Gnostic text and all the rest of it. If I'm led there by spirit to go check something out, I will. But you could literally spend years and years. If I could decide to go study Kabbalah, that could literally be another 15-year project. I ain't got that kind of time left. And even if I do, I don't want to spend it reading the Kabbalah. You know what I mean? Because I'm breaking away from religion. I don't need to get caught in another religion. Oh yeah, Niana, we have 24 in the house right now. I do appreciate you reminding me. We got on some other stuff today. I've listened to you all. I have heard you, and I responded. I went and kind of retrofit an older personal use channel that I had, and as of today, Anunnaki Oracle Priestess has been born. That will be mostly a tarot-centric channel. I would appreciate very much if you would be kindly go to that channel and subscribe to it. I'm trying to get to the point where we have enough subscribers so that I can live stream on it. And as a thank you for that, once I'm able to open up the live streaming this weekend, I'm hoping it'll happen tonight. I don't know if it will be tonight or not. I tried earlier and they still wouldn't have let me. It was like I think it's like a 24-hour timeout after I've confirmed my number and changed the thing and did all the stuff I needed to do. It still wouldn't let me go live, even though I had like 52. So if I'm not able to go live tonight, then tomorrow when I'm able to go live, I will, for a couple of days, I will live stream and offer free mini readings on there as a thank you for, kind of an introduction to the channel and a thank you for helping me get to the ability to live stream. But in order to get that ability, I do need you to do me a solid, if you will, and go to the channel and subscribe. You can find the link at the bottom of the home page on this channel. The icon for that channel is there. And if you'll just, even if you duck out of here for a second, if you'll just go and subscribe and then come back, I would highly, highly appreciate you doing that. And thank you for reminding me, Niana. Hey, Maurice Porter, welcome in, baby doll. Hey, John Pratt, how are you? How are you? Oh, honey, that absolutely. I wanted to, because what you said made sense. I want people to be able to get the tarot information as well as this. And I probably will still continue to do maybe a collective tarot reading for this channel, like maybe once a week or something. But you all, some of you want more tarot content. So it would be easier for me to separate that out into another channel. So I'm happy to do that. But thank you, John. Appreciate it. And John and Maurice, would you please go to that other channel and subscribe for me, hon? Unless you just really, really don't want no tarot content whatsoever. But if you're willing to do that, because I'm trying to get up to a certain number so I can start live streaming and offer that on that channel as well. I'll still live stream here with the spiritual content. That's not going to change. But I wanted to start doing some tarot live streaming as well and just keep the two a little more separate than they've been. I want to look and see. I'm nosy now. I want to see how many, if any. There's too many commercials on this. The music was cool, but way too many commercials. I'm getting ready to be nosy now. You say you're trying to be like me when you grow up. Oh, you already did? Oh, awesome, John. Thank you so much. Hold on. I'm nosy now. I gotta look and see here. Wait a second. Oh, okay. I see some have. I'm looking at 57 subscribers now. I started out with like 46 or 47 when I first came on. So we got like 10 subscribers there. Awesome. I don't know if it's going to allow me to. Let me see if it will here. I'm nosy now. Mm. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to see something. It's still saying I don't meet the eligibility requirements for live streaming yet. So I don't know when it's going to allow me to. We're going to see. We're going to see. Hey, Rosie Posey, how are you? Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to have you. Uh-oh. Excuse me. Well, when I went to ask the how, it said that you couldn't live stream until you get 50 subscribers. Maurice, if you go to the homepage of this channel that you're on right now, and then down towards the bottom, you should see an icon that says My Other Channel, and it'll take you to Anunnaki Oracle Priestess, and you'll see the icon is another picture, a recent picture of me, and when you get there, you can just subscribe. Um, when I was looking at the info, though, it said that you had to have 50 subscribers in order to live stream. So I had like 46 from a bajillion years ago. They've literally been sitting there. Awesome, Maurice. Yeah, I would appreciate that. Um, but I've had those 46 subscribers for years on there. I didn't have any content on the channel, but they subscribed based on my comments on other people's channels. But that was for so long ago, I didn't know if YouTube was not counting those 46 towards the 50, or part of what it said in there was I had to verify my phone number too, because I did change my phone number and had to update passwords. I did a lot of tweaking and arranging in studio for some things, but they said that it might be up to 24 hours before I could live stream once I hit the 50. So maybe again, I had intended to do a love reading tonight, but if it won't allow me to, it may have to wait until tomorrow. I'll keep checking on it, but as soon as I'm able to go live on that channel, I'll still do a couple of days, even if it's not until Monday, I'll still do at least 2 days of free reading because I said it out my mouth and I do appreciate. Ooh, well, happy belated born day, John. Awesome, awesome. Yay, yay. Time, honey, time, you ain't got to tell me about time flying. It's ridiculous how time seems. It literally feels like it's speeding way, way up lately. Yeah. I can't, the weeks go so fast. I can't even keep up, feel like. And I ain't even really doing nothing, but it's like this whole year has just zoomed by unnaturally fast. Hey, Aylet, how are you? Welcome in, welcome in. Mm-mm-mm-mm. So what is everybody else up to? I was kind of hoping whoever that was that left out earlier talking about I need to be more considerate, they never did come back. I was hoping they would. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The less friends, the better. And I wish that was something that younger people would figure out because truthfully, if they did, they probably have less dramatic lives and have more money in their pocket by the time they get older. A lot of times trying to maintain large friend groups will wind up with you in all kinds of legal and or financial and or relationship and or spiritual problems, for real. Oh, I'm glad you found it too, M Beans, for real. I really am. Like I said, I love having like-minded soul tribe here, people that are genuinely interested in learning something new. We even put up, like, we'll have a little fun and put up with the trolls and the detractors. But truthfully, I don't even mind them as much as long as they're not being truly hateful, because the fact that they're on the page at all out of the millions of channels that are here, and all they got to do if they don't like the content is this. So the fact that they're sticking around and saying something, even if they are not awake and aware enough yet to understand that this is where they're supposed to be, something in the message has gotten their attention. Even if it's irritated their demons and made them speak out, something in the message has gotten their attention. And my main objective here is to help awaken the masses, so it's not ever a waste as far as I'm controlled. They do, they be seeking help, and they be crying out for help, because that really weird, immature, inappropriate, disgusting, sexual, all of those types of things for grown people to be acting like that, especially since we live in the age of cancel culture where people will track you down, find your IP address and put you on blast on the internet, and they still showing up in places talking about F face and tiggle bitties and ignorant stuff and insulting the way people look and all of that kind of ignorant, childish high school, elementary school nonsense. They be crying out for help. Those are people that really should have had better parents, honestly. You said I ever noticed that people that have education and smarts, they're so beautiful. When did you send it, Niana? Was it like this evening? Oh shoot, I don't have my email app on here. I didn't download my email on my tablet. I'll check. But yeah, as long as you send it to modernmysticmessages@gmail, I should be, hopefully I'll be able to see it. I'm still looking for Sage E to come back in. Her reading has been sitting on my channel unviewed for over a week. Same thing with Headlines with a Voice. And Headlines popped into the live stream on the last live stream, and I told her that the email that I had emailed her stuff a couple times and she still never watched it. But when did you send the email for your reading, Niana? If it was sometime today, I haven't seen it. And if it was before today, I'm gonna have to ask you to send me another one because I honestly didn't see it. Hey, Unique, what's up, Mama? Glad to have you in. Welcome. I was telling them earlier, Unique, I did it. I went ahead and got that other channel set up. If you go to the home page and scroll down, you'll see a thumbnail for Anunnaki Oracle Priestess. I'm gonna do tarot under that name. So if you would be so kind as to subscribe there, I would really appreciate it, sis. I really would. Say ignorance is bliss. No, honey, yeah. Some of them they would. It's bliss till it ain't gonna be. It's gonna be bliss till it's a problem. But some of them stay in willful ignorance. So I guess they'll be, doing their thing. Good. Thank you so much, Mama. Appreciate you. We're gonna have to coordinate on schedules and stuff too, because I am gonna be doing more tarot, but I don't mind at all modding for you, and you show up and you be so on it modding for me. I would like to coordinate our schedules so we're not bumping heads or anything. But you can email me, or I'll email or call you. We'll figure it out. I'll get it done some kind of way. Anybody that's here in the room got any? You said tell you about Lord Shiva, something about him. Yeah, John, that's what I was telling them. I haven't been reading tarot as much on the channel lately, between live streaming here in the evenings and just dealing with my life and trying to get my head together. I haven't been reading tarot as much as I'd like to. But I opened that other channel, Anunnaki Oracle Priestess. That is going to be primarily a tarot channel. And as we speak, the first video up, well, it would be the second. The other one was like a couple years ago. I had a video there just for the people that were subbed on the channel, but just to let them know I wasn't going to post any more content or any content there. But I came in today and did an introductory message and a reading, so it should be posted to the channel as we speak. Lord Shiva Bhairav is also Lord Enki, and that's what we've been basically talking about all day. I don't know if you ducked out of the live stream. I've been talking about Lord Enki / Shiva for almost 2 hours now, because he is one of my main guides. Shiva is Enki. He is our primary progenitor. He is the us in the let us make man in our image. Well, he's the one that said it, I would imagine, but he's the primary geneticist on the Adamu project. His sister Ninma, Isis, was the second geneticist, and his son Ningish Zeta, Thoth, was the third. So in Genesis 2, where it says, let us make man in our image, that's who was having that conversation. Enlil, Yahweh, ain't have a nickel in that quarter except to demand that we have a worship gene installed in us, and that we could never see their faces, and that we were to be told that they're gods even though they're not. Well, Yahweh is a destroyer in the Jewish pantheon. El Elyon means the destroyer, and truthfully, that doesn't surprise me, because in several of the pantheons, especially through the Mycenaean age, Yahweh and Enlil and Enki's roles got a little bit blurred and flipped at some point when Enlil was, I don't know if it was before he was exiled or when he came out of exile. It's almost like people use the term a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's like Enlil intentionally kind of absorbed some of his brother's characteristics, and it became a bit of a blurred line there for a moment, which I get it, because he had been so blackballed. He kind of sort of wanted to slide back under the radar and under the guise of Enki's reputation. But Shiva is not really a bad guy, with the title of the destroyer or not. In the Hindu pantheon, he's not a bad dude. I am very much at peace with myself and calm. I'm here to disseminate very hard won school of hard knocks wisdom. I tell my story, but I tell it in with a sense of accountability and just keeping it real, because I know there's a lot of folks that won't take accountability and tell the truth, and there's a lot of younger generations that need to hear older people that are willing to set the record straight and stop lying behind the lies and the bullshit and trying to act like butter don't melt in our mouths, and just tell the truth so that these kids can know and do better instead of continuing to perpetuate chains of pain. It's time for us to heal our trauma personally and generationally. And we can't do that if no one is willing to speak up and tell the truth. A lot of women, especially the women in my generation and those that are coming along after, we got hit with all of the programming nonsense. We got the feminist movement and for birth control and the this and that, the suffrage movement, blah, blah, blah. We were independent, all this misogyny and all that. And we literally became a generation of 304s out there and help perpetuate that nasty energy of single parenthood and all this other stuff that we swear up and down is so cool and all that. But we've raised a whole generation of children that have more mama and daddy issues than they can shake a stick at. But these women get older and they're embarrassed to admit that they did it wrong and that their behaviors led to a lot of problems that were completely unnecessary. They go somewhere and they start making money or run up in the church and then get so holier than thou that they don't want to admit that they understand these people's issues at all. And it just continues to perpetuate an unhealthy cycle. And I said, I won't be that person. I'm going to tell the truth about where we went wrong. Everything isn't women's fault, CC, but neither are women always the innocent victims they like to sit around and complain about and be. They come there with the men ain't shit story, and that's not always the case. And even when we come across a lot of men that ain't shit, it's because they was raised by women that ain't shit. It's not always the man's fault or their father's fault. There's a lot of women that do a lot of stuff that has shaped our family dynamic very negatively. Amen. Oh wow, Antoine, I love these notes you're putting in here. I wish there was a way to preserve the chat notes because I can't figure out how to do that yet. But you say women die surrounded by family, and guess what? There's a whole lot of men that die alone because bitter women shut them out of potential families too. So you say that to say what, CC? Don't get caught up in that feminist stuff where women are so, and I'm not saying women have always been treated right. I'm not ignoring the fact that women have been traumatized, but neither can we ignore the fact that a lot of men were traumatized as boys too. Women have got to stop selling that victim story. There's a lot of young men that are shaped and molded by bitter ass women. There's a lot of men that carry a lot of childhood sexual trauma too. That's one of the reasons they act the way they act. And then they get women that were out there sleeping their way through the phone book and wind up having all of these fatherless children and keeping otherwise decent dudes away from their children because they're weaponizing those children because they would rather live on handouts and child support than actually allow these men to be involved. Now I get it. Some of us made such poor choices that we dealing with true raggedy deadbeats who wouldn't have nothing to do with their kids if they could. That is a very low vibrational woman who attracted very low vibrational men to her. But the vast majority of men and women, that's not the case. But bitter women have turned it into something else. And we really got to stop telling that story that way. Hey, Legacy of Free Domain. Good to have you in here. Hey, Raj Talas or Raji. Good to have you in here too. No, CC, women are serial monogamous when their pickers are broken. And I'm living proof of that. I'm living proof of that because, and I'm going to tell you why. Most women do want to raise their family with the father of their children. Now, this is the part where women kind of sort of get a pass, but they kind of don't, because we should have woke up and figured this shit out sooner. When you made the fact, you saying that women are serial monogamous, but here's the thing. If women had not bought into that feminist nonsense and bought into all the lies and the whoredom that Cosmo and Marie Claire and all of the Real Households and where the hell ever on TV then tried to justify their loose, nasty behavior and let us know that it was perfectly okay to use our money makers and screw around with maintenance men and this and that. And we scoffed at the old women that said, why buy the cow when we can get the milk for free? Because our little hormones got to popping and we was out there and discovered that men liked us, but when they liked us, in order to get us to like them, that we usually had to wind up giving up some tail for that. But we thought it was okay because we had birth control, and then the birth control failed, and then we go out there, wind up sleeping around with a bunch of very low vibrational dudes who figured out how to prey on girls with daddy and mommy issues, that even though they're beautiful, they have a very low sense of self-esteem. And then women are told that it's okay to indulge that longing for our bad boy phase. So we go out there and ignore the solid dudes that would put us in a house and wife us up for life. And instead we go out there and give our bodies to bad boys that are not going to treat us right and do right by us. So we wind up with a series of failed relationships and multiple baby daddies. That's why women are serial monogamous. The vast majority of women would love to have married one good dude and settled down with him. But we didn't do that because we chose to give ourselves to trash men. Now let's keep it real and be accountable. Please. When you heal and learn your true worth and learn to keep your legs closed and raise your standards, then you start raising your vibration and meet decent men who will go the distance, and your serial monogamy will become real monogamy, and you can stop being passed around like a blunt every few years to a new puff pass. No, good men are out there, CC. You got to raise your vibration though to find them. You just ain't on their radar until you actually are a vibrational match to them. It's not, they're not a needle in a haystack. It's a whole hell of a lot more good men out there than you know about. I promise you. I promise you. It's probably at least 5 or 6 of them on this live stream right now. CC, Zach, why do you think I'm speaking out about it? Older women were doing it, but they socially, before the feminist movement and birth control came along, socially, people were encouraged to marry and stay married even if they were miserable. There was a whole lot of people that had a whole lot of quote unquote premature babies, even though the babies was 8-9 pounds. You got pregnant, you got married, that was the end of it, whether you liked it or not. When the feminist movement came along and then they gave us birth control on top of it, it created a whole generation of wanton women that thought that they were above morality. That's the truth of it. I'm stuck dead in the middle of that generation at 57 years of age. I grew up right at the beginning of all of that stuff beginning to happen. I'm here to tell you, I understand what happened. It's not finding any way to blame women. That's the truth. Men decide who's going to get married. Women decide whether or not sex is going to happen. And once women discovered that they could take a pill that would allow them to be as loose as they wanted to be, but they could pop a pill with very, very low threat of potential pregnancy, they said, to hell with it. I ain't got to sit around and wait for a husband. I can just have fun till the real one show up. And it created a mess. Patricia, thank you. I'm glad you know that I'm telling the truth. Some of these people, and again, I'm not saying this for want of just bragging about it. I'm being honest. I made them same mistakes too. That's how I know what really happens out there. I was green as grass coming out of a very, very strict religious two-parent household. But it was a two-parent household with a narcissist and her supply in it. And I really still didn't get the social tools to know how to vet men properly and know what to do and all the rest of that. And I was that proverbial spring that was held too tight. If you just let a spring go loose, it just fly all over the place. If you let it go controlled, it's an easier deal. But I was tossed out quite literally almost overnight into the world, and I became low-hanging fruit for some really, really raggedy behind dudes. And I didn't even have enough real street sense to know they weren't good dudes until I wound up a single mama. Then, he done lied and told me all of this stuff. But the moment he found out I'm pregnant, then the story changed and he go to acting a fool. So a lot of women get trapped up in that. If they'd have kept their legs closed, though, then guess what? They wouldn't have had any stories to tell. Now, I don't regret my children. I love them. They're the best thing he ever did. But I can't blame him on doing what I set myself up to have happen to me by choosing to give myself to the bad boy, the wrong dude. It looked good on the outside, but he never had no intention of doing right by me. So I have to take accountability for my part in the story. And that's where a lot of women won't do it. They'd rather play victim. But unless you can truly claim that you were violated, the kind of violation that get dudes 10, 15 years in prison, if you're not a victim of that, you got to stop putting the story all in the man's lap. And CC, all men don't. It ain't about what a man says. It's about truly vetting somebody and seeing what he does, seeing how he shows up, seeing will he live to the limitations or will he start acting a fool. A lot of women sleep with men because they think that's going to keep that man there. If a man genuinely loves you, if you insisted on it, he will wait until the wedding night if he insisted on it. Now, I'm not saying in 2025 you got to wait that long, but we as women, we have been taught to believe that we can hold a man down by opening up and giving him sex, and they want us to believe that because it gets them a lot of free sex with no commitment. And the moment that something goes wrong, or you don't say what he wants you to say, or God forbid you get pregnant, first thing he say, we ain't married, and he walk off and go on about his business. And he's telling the truth because you chose to give your body to a man that had not given you any real indication that he was committing to you. And all men don't say that. Again, this is the part that women will argue with me tooth and nail, but from a law of attraction standpoint, you don't get what you pray for. You get what you're a vibrational match to. From a law of attraction standpoint, the victim and the perpetrator are in the same basic energy bandwidth. They're just opposite ends of the same energy spectrum. And women who have not learned what they need to look for, and do not set those proper standards for themselves and do not hold to them, and are way too forgiving and way too open and way too open-minded about what it means to be a good man and what they're willing to accept in their life. And to be fair, a lot of them do that because he's, what, like I said before, as beautiful as they may be, they probably have a lot of unaddressed childhood trauma, mama, daddy issues, and all the rest of that. So, in their trauma space, their energy bandwidth attracts low vibrational men. And because of their insecurities, these women that are operating from their trauma space in their low vibrational energy attract and accept into their lives low vibrational men. And then when the woman don't like it because it don't feel so good no more because he ain't what she thought he was, he ain't, she, half the time they don't even have the luxury of a marriage situation to protect them. They are out there just in the wind in this situation of serial monogamy. Honestly, Patricia, more women would do themselves a favor to do that if they would just go ahead and get them a battery operated boyfriend, unless or until a man actually shows up. Because if a man genuinely loves you, you gonna know it, and he's gonna move heaven and earth for you. And unless or until a man that genuinely loves you shows up, you would be better off to have a battery operated boyfriend. All Japanese and Chinese women haven't given up on marriage, honey. You watching way too much this relationship not dynamic claptrap on YouTube. And I promise you, the red pillars are out of their minds. The ones that's talking about coming out against the trad wives and all that. There's more relationship nonsense that I see on YouTube every day than helpful advice. Generalizing like that, all Japanese and Chinese women aren't giving up on marriage. And guess what? In this particular economy, with the way the world is going, you really can't blame anybody, because it's not even about wanting to give up on marriage. It's about not wanting to bring children into this nightmare that we're living in. And the best way to not bring children into this is to not marry, not settle down, not commit to a man that's going to want sex about 3, 4, 5 times a week. But Maurice, you see, I'm sitting up here trying to spew for real wisdom what I done lived, seen, heard in the break rooms, the locker rooms, watched aunties and friends and cousins and co-workers. I've been dealing with this all my life, but they still want to argue for the limitations and try to overgeneralize when I know what the hell I'm talking about. Again, I've made those mistakes. I'm not talking down to a woman as if I know so much better from a lofty place. I've lived this mess. That's how I know what it is. The trauma, the drama, the bad dudes, the bad boys, the whoremongers, you name it. When my energy was fucked up, I was dragged. They look good on the surface, but I was attracting fucked up men. I can't sit here and say there wasn't no good men around, but I wasn't vibrationally a match to them. So guess what? They was off my radar like I was off theirs. But once my vibration, and I went celibate for a number of years, my vibration began to rise, and it opened a whole different world to me. And again, I'm not saying I decided to start sleeping through the phone book with them, but it made me aware that there really are a lot more good dudes out there than hurt, traumatized women are willing to acknowledge. Unless or until they heal and deal with their trauma, they can't see them. They are invisible to them because they're of a different bandwidth. Legacy of free domain. Awesome. You say you got 4 sons. I got twin boys and 2 daughters, and like I said, I tell my sons and daughters a lot of the same stuff to try to protect them from the mess that's out there. Again, and you say that to say what old women were getting beaten, humiliated by outside children and all of that. And guess what? I guarantee you it's more of it now than it was then. Yes, it was happening then too, because like I said, socially before the feminist movement and birth control, people tended to stay together longer, even if they were miserable. Which that's foolish in and of itself. That's a whole different conversation, though. We're not talking about that, because I wouldn't stay with nobody that's going to beat me and have a whole bunch of outside children and all of that. But again, you saw a lot more of that too, depending on the culture and the socioeconomic status of the couple involved. You can't talk in them broad, sweeping generalities, because a lot of what you're talking about is an American phenomenon for the most part. Now, women in Japan, are they having less babies? And I get all the rest of that. I've seen some of that information, that data out there too, but it's for a different reason. What you're talking about right here is some stuff that happened. America has been very traumatized ever since the ending of slavery. That impacted white people and black people here. In slavery, we literally are only about 150 years or 160 something years on the other side of slavery on this planet. I mean, in this country. So a lot of the relationship crap that was happening there was very traumatic. I get that part. But I'm talking about the women that are in the next generations that are supposed to be rising up out of that. I'm not telling women to put up with men beating on them and cheating on them, but the next generation, instead of them seeing the older women's mistakes and changing it and doing better, they started sleeping around with scrub dudes. Like you said, you hear them. They'll talk down about the nerd and the geek and all the rest of that. Women don't want them. Women will laugh at them. They all want the jocks and the bad boys and all the pretty boys. And a lot of them dudes that women was running behind ain't worth a fart in a windstorm. But they look good. They smell good. But they are very, very highly sexually focused. Most of them will want to try to push your drawers down within less than 30 days of dating. They'll make you out into a 15-year fiance, and it don't take no man 15 years to know whether or not he want to marry somebody. They started playing the game with women. They will string women along, and women allow themselves to be strung along in the name of feminist liberalism, and created a nightmare for themselves and the fatherless children they have. No, I didn't say man was innocent in all of this. A grown person, unique, needs to understand how to treat people. But a lot of men, especially these young, low-hanging fruit dudes we talking about, a lot of them behave the way they do because they never had a good role model in their lives. A lot of those people in that generation are raised in single parent divided households, and very often bitter women will weaponize children and keep otherwise decent fathers. Whether the man and the woman stay together or not should not have a bearing on whether or not a man can see his children. But you can turn on the television, scroll YouTube, go down to the barbershop, the beauty parlor, or anywhere else on any given day, and hear tales about women weaponizing their children against men because the dude was not a good man. No, because he don't want her no more. He's not violent against the children. He hasn't hurt the children in any way. But if he's not willing to pay an exorbitant amount of child support or don't want her, she will make his life hell for seeing his children. And God forbid he get another woman after her. I've heard women that flat out will not allow the man to see his children because in a jealous shit fit, she don't want her children around another woman. Well, you should have made sure you was a wife before you had children, and then you wouldn't have to worry about whether or not your children will be around another woman. That's some nonsense that I've never been able to get down with. And I've told plenty of women that it irritates the life out of me. I was a single mother too, and I genuinely had deadbeat ass baby daddies that wouldn't do right by their kids, even though I never kept the children from them. I had them, and I've stood there and told them, look, I know you're behind in child support. Don't let money be the reason you don't spend time with your children. Your child needs you. and they still wouldn't show up. So I genuinely had for real deadbeat daddies. But I've also seen women that sat down there and they was running up in the courthouse for an increase every time the wind blow, and because they just didn't like the fact that he had moved on and gotten somebody else, they would keep those children from him. I've been in a situation where I dated a man who we drove all the way from Florida all the way to Virginia to spend the birthday weekend with his, at that time, his only daughter. And that silly behind woman literally hid that child for 4 days in Virginia. She allowed him to go and drop off the presents and drop off some money, but she lied and ducked him all weekend long and had him waste all of that time, gas money, and everything else, and would not allow him to see his child. And to this day, once the girl got grown, she created a relationship with her daddy, and she don't have shit to do with her mama because she found out about the lies and the raggedy mess that her mama was doing. Her mother actually cheated on him. They were married, and she cheated on him, had dudes crawling in the window and some more stuff. And then when he finally divorced her or left her alone, they didn't even divorce till years later, but he finally got tired of her nonsense and just separated from her. She weaponized his child against him. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Hey, Glove 100. Oh, good. I'm glad you're here. CC, you know what? Yes, my father was a good man. My father, and guess what? My mother was miserable too because she just wanted to be miserable. She was a raging narcissist. He wasn't a perfect man. And the main flaws that he had was because he was raised by a bitter ass single woman. I love my grandmother, but she won't shit either. She was a beautiful party girl. She partied so hard. She ran her husband off, and she raised 3 boys by themselves, and all of them had fucked up attitudes about what it took to quote unquote be a good man. But he was a provider. He did the best he could from where he was at. But was his life impacted by being raised by a single woman? Oh, hell yes, it showed. But he still stuck around. And my mother made his life miserable. She knew how to play him like a fiddle. And the raging narcissist that she was, she did so tiny little thing and still made that man's life as much hell as she knew how to make it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to be honest. I'm not gonna sit here and try to victimize. And she used to get mad at me because I was born as the truth teller in my family. And as long as I was on her side, I was fine. But when I told the truth, she made my life miserable too. Exactly. And that's my point, legacy of a free man. There's a lot of good men out there that won't ever get credit for being good men because of bitter women that play them like fiddles. My twin's grandfather, everybody thought he was the hell raiser in the family. And I sat there and watched his wife poke him, like talking about poking the bear. He did. He was of a different old school cloth. He would get drunk and whoop that ass. But by the time he actually got around to putting hands on her, trust and believe. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying I understood. She would sit up in his face and talk about who her next husband was going to be, if she was going to this and if she was going to that. Well, this man sitting right there listening to it in a little tiny town, flirting and flicking her hair and carrying on and all the rest of that stuff. And then wonder why he get mad. Or if he said he didn't want her going out or whatever, pop her ass down to the speakeasy or the little juke joint down the road without him in there flirting and letting other dudes buy her drinks and all that kind of stuff. And then when he turned around and smack her ass, then she high yellow, so she bruised all up real good. Then she want to show up in all around town, so make him look like a devil. Again, it may not have been right for him to whoop her ass, but I understood. Yeah, you still got to stay your best self all the time, showing up. Exactly. But again, you got to actually get to enough of a point of accountability to stop seeking to make it be somebody else's fault. Because again, I'm not saying that it was all men's fault. I'm not saying it's all women's fault. But for each woman or each man that wants to figure out why they're a serial monogamous or why they've had such bad luck in relationships, at some point they're going to have that conversation with themselves. Wait a minute now, what was it about my energy or vibration that allowed this into my experience? And if they can actually get that part of the lesson, they can find their way. They can work the puzzle backwards and find their way out of it. And then they will understand that once their vibration rises, they will open the floodgates to a whole different type of being and relationship that they may never have known it even existed before. Yeah, it's possible. Hey, Muslims, Destiny. See this statement right here. This lets me know you haven't healed, whether you are brother or sister. This smart women stay single. Single women are emotionally healthy and happy. That's a bald-faced lie. Bitter, unhealed women stay single and they're not emotionally healthy. They've fooled themselves into believing that alone equals happy, but it don't. It really don't. We weren't created to be alone. You need to heal. And I'm saying that with my whole chest. That statement right there lets me know you have not finished your healing journey. So you should be single until you heal, because you're going to continue to manifest damaging stuff. Marriage doesn't destroy women. Jacked up marriage to the wrong person might destroy women, but marriage does not destroy women. There you go, Weston. Muslims' dignity, it depends. And the reason I say that, all situations of being gay does not have anything to do with spiritual or mental sickness, but some cases could potentially. For example, and again, I don't keep want to have y'all all up in my business, but the easiest way for me to be relatable is just to tell you what I know from my personal experience. My oldest daughter is gay. I knew she was gay before she knew she was gay. When she was of the age, in the adolescent age, I watched her struggle with her sexuality a lot, and she didn't like that fact, and she was very anti-gay and all that for a minute, because I have an older niece that was gay, and she struggled with that for a time. But she's a true lesbian. She has a beautiful wife now, and everything is hunky-dory, no problem. My youngest daughter is also gay. She was not born gay. It happened over the course of literally over a span of about a week. I think somewhere the summer that she turned, I think about 13, 14 or so. One week she was wanting matching sundresses, wearing box braids. We were going to get our nails and toes done together and all the rest of that. And then the next week she shaved off all her hair and walked around looking like a little boy. And from that point on, for a minute, she wouldn't even bathe. She was dirty. I was wondering if she had some kind of trauma or whatever. She never would tell me what happened. But and I had kept it for myself for a long to myself, because I didn't want to seem like I was being judgmental. But I had a conversation years later with my oldest daughter, and she said the same thing that I was thinking. She's not really gay. That's a trauma response. And she's convinced herself she's gay. She only dates women at this point. But whatever happened to her that she refused to talk about, she's not genuinely gay. I don't know if she did it calling herself shocking her daddy or pissing off her dad. It's something else there that is not emotionally and mentally healthy. And it may be considered a spiritual sickness. But truthfully, spiritual sickness, I really have a hard time calling spiritual sickness Muslim, Destiny, because the religions that look down on homosexuality are the Abrahamic religions. And I know that most of his restrictions, of Yahweh El's restrictions, are due to his own shortcomings. It's not a real spiritual thing. It's just because he was very restrictive and hateful towards humans, because he hated us. But there's no reason, I mean, I don't have an issue with anybody being gay. Now, when we talk about mental illness, this stuff that we're seeing in this, since this latest paradigm shift with all of this gender confusion, non-binary, all of that, that's mental illness all day, plain and simple. And that, in the respect of it, could be considered spiritual illness, because I do believe there are powers and principalities that drive some of that stuff. So in that aspect, yes, spiritual illness. But from a judgmental standpoint, do I feel is wrong? No, there's nothing wrong with somebody making that choice if it's an honest choice. Because here's the thing. If you're an old soul, which most of us on this planet are, we've been here before. This ain't our first rodeo. We've been men before, we've been women before, all of us. Everybody except a newbie who's, if it's your first time as a brand new soul, you might not have been something else. But if you done been through more than 3 or 4 incarnations, you've been both genders before. So I don't find any kind of issue with it. Hey, Brittany. You said if you already been, I don't know. You got 11 kids. Good Lord, you need a bingo night or something. Learn to play Scrabble. Shit. Hey, Kevin Young, what's up? I'm not sure who said what about racist stuff, Weston. But hey, whatever works for you. If you ain't ready to settle down and be in a relationship, that's fine. We're talking in broad generalities. In every situation, there are going to be people that, because not everybody is going to couple up. Most people are designed to be part of a couple. There are some few people that, due to, like I said, due to their traumas and their life path or whatever else, they may do their whole life single, and that's okay too. The vast majority of people won't. if you was you, I'd be me, talking about don't be unfertile. Whatever. You can go ahead on with that nonsense. If you don't want to, that's fine, Kevin Young, but honestly, I can't even promote that kind of nonsense, because even though I do recognize times are hard and we live in a very um, difficult scenario, if everybody took that attitude, we would literally be doing ourselves in as a species within a few generations. We have to kind of sort of be together and mate and figure out how to get along if we intend to keep this species alive on this planet. And the creator of all intends for us to stay here and be alive on this planet. So I can't really advocate for that selfish, I gotta be whatever, it's just easier not to get married and all that other good stuff. I can't advocate for that. Exactly. Well, if you was you, I'd be me. If you got 11 children, and I'm glad you acknowledge this, you can say what I don't have to. Then, yeah, you a real bad man, sir. And any woman with any common sense would never lay with you. Period. And the fact that you found 11 fools out there that was willing to lay down with you, that ain't nothing for neither none of y'all to be bragging about. Cause and again, I done been the fool, but a man that's got 4, 5, 6 children by 3 or 4 different baby mamas, what the hell do I think? Do I really think that I'm going to be the one that's going to get him to straighten up and fly right? No, I'm going to add my children to his little chain of pain. It's selfishness for the sake of a nut. It's not fair to those children. It's not fair to me, because I know I don't want to have to deal with some fool. I got to stand in line behind 17 other baby mamas to just for my children to get a little bit of his attention, and what little 10 cents of his money they might be able to get. It's not fair. So no, you can laugh about being a real bad man. Yeah, you are a real bad man, sir. And it's a real fool to have anything else to do with you. Go somewhere and heal, please. Now, I hope you don't get offended and leave the channel, because you probably could learn something here. But if you do get offended, oh well, because anybody that see that, I can't let that go unanswered. The seed is not here to spread indiscriminately. Children deserve to have an attentive father that can spend time with them. And I'd say the same thing. I remember several years ago, they had something about some fool. They was like, there was 19 kids in the family. That kind of nonsense went out, should have went out when agriculture became more commercial. My father's, my grandmother was one of 22 children from the same husband and wife, and I still think that's ludicrous too. But they didn't have birth control back then, and she had back to back like sets of twins and triplets and all that stuff, so I get that part. But in this day and time, no one should be having that many children. It's not fair to the children. Even if you got money to afford to raise them, you can't split your time that way. How you gonna be a good parent, a truly good parent to 11 children? You can't. Like Nick Cannon, prime thing. He got that attitude that because he got money, he posed to have 17 children. The devil is a lie. He's not a good parent. You can't be an effective parent to 17 children at one time and still have a career. It's not possible. He's fooling himself, and eventually his children will let him know that they don't think very highly of that. He's not going to have the relationship with him that he thinks he is. You know what? If I was you, you be me, whatever. You about to get up off of here. I'm way behind on the notes. I'm way behind at this point. But you spewing pure ignorance, and it's really starting to piss me off. You got to stop talking that kind of foolishness. Just let the state take care of them. Who the hell you think pay the state? Workers, tax people. I'm not married, our hope, because like I said, I learned my lesson and left them fools alone. I was with somebody long enough to be common law, but when he asked and wanted me to marry him, I finally had woke up enough to have sense enough to not lap tie myself to him, because I already knew I had to make my exit strategy, and then I stayed single after that. I've been celibate for a while. I have someone in my life, but they're in another country, and I'm gonna be celibate until we get married. Hey, bro, 100. I didn't even realize you was in here. What's up? I'm just reading, catching up a little bit since I was so far behind. I think I have seen that video before. Unique, yeah. That's why I say people just do weird stuff. It's just crazy. I'm gonna scroll on down a little bit because you say you've been married for 25 years. Legacy of freedom. I mean, that's awesome. You said men's shelters are just called jails. Yeah, kind of, sort of. I don't have any advice for the black moon tonight. I wasn't following astrology enough to even realize we had an event happening right now. I probably should have. Hey Tutiwi, how are you? And hey Corinthia, I didn't even see y'all come in either. Okay, I didn't even see what all CC was talking about, but she was very much arguing. He or she, whoever it was very much arguing for their limitations. So I'm kind of glad you got them off of here. Maurice Porter, I don't know how you can tell if you're an old or new soul. I think some of us have like a lot of experiences, and truthfully, it would probably be, that's what I say most of us are, because as a brand new soul, I don't think you would have a whole lot of karmic lessons to learn. So if you had a relatively smooth ride here, not a whole lot of karmic stuff, not a whole lot of karmic relationships, and your money is looking good, you're not really running into narcissists like talking about it and all that, you might be a newer soul. But most of us are here closing out a lot of generational curses, karmic cycles, that kind of stuff, and we've been going through it since birth almost, like for real. Hey Miss Yates, I didn't see you ease on in here either. Welcome. Hey, Dr. Armand. Dr. Armand, hopefully by tomorrow, hopefully I'll be able to go live on my other channel by tomorrow. Go to the homepage on this channel, scroll to the bottom, and you'll see the icon for my other channel, Anunnaki Oracle Priestess. And I'll be doing once I have the ability to go live on that channel, which should happen sometime between now and tomorrow. I'll be doing some free mini readings for a couple of days. So if you need me to look into something there, I might be able to at that point. Hey, Corinthia, Tressa, yeah. Oh, that's cool, Weston. I'm glad you're having a good time now. You said, where am I from in this heaven named Earth, or this hell named Earth, depending on where you at. I was originally from Florida. I'm currently living in Atlanta. And yes, children are suffering. And like I said, hurt people. And it's literally passing down generational trauma and pain from generation to generation. It's just getting worse. And yet, our hope, Elon has a whole bunch too. And honestly, I get it because he probably likes children. I mean, Elon is a whole different scenario because he is autistic. So, and truthfully, he seems to be spending more time with his children than the average wealthy person does. He looks like he spends a lot of time with his children, but I don't think he got 17. What does he got now? About 8, but it's still a lot. Hey Raquel, I didn't see you either. Welcome in. Oh yeah, she was starting to pluck my nerves. Unfortunately, I was so busy arguing with her, I didn't even scroll down far enough to see what she said before she got kicked out, and I ain't even mad. Hey Cola, welcome. And hey Bobby Love. I'm not sure what center you talking about, Bobby Love, but okay. If that works for y'all, go ahead. Oh, awesome, Cola. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you said hi. Brittany, I think most of us are old souls. Like I said, from what I've been told and what seems reasonable right now, there aren't that many new souls here at this time because you got to remember, we are here for the purpose of helping the planet segue into the age of Aquarius. Gaia is in labor right now. This whole wave thing of the star seeds started coming onto the planet in the mid 50s, mid to late 50s. It was like 4 or 5 waves of them. And they said by 2036, you're really going to see how the autistic children and the rainbows and crystals kind of activate to hold down the energy grid for some serious stuff that's going to pop off here sooner than we know. And we came here in waves to assist with the mass awakening of mass consciousness during this time period. And that's not really an assignment for newbies. It literally took old souls. We've been playing this game and working this puzzle for a long time. And just like any video game, we kept getting out, but every time we come back, we level up a little more. And it's time for us to awaken and ascend and take on the big boss at the end of the level, like the very, very end of the game. Before you win the whole game, you usually got to play the big boss. We're here to level up, awaken, and ascend spiritually and take on the big boss. You say you ancient Maurice, you got Inky's beeper number. You sound like my kids now. They talk about me and Jesus went to prom together. We was in the same graduating class and all that kind of stuff. In the totality of circumstances, you're not having a good time, but personally, you and cool. You moving to a ranch hour north of Atlanta in October. Ooh, awesome! I remember you saying that you were coming here because you got a little business with a little chocolate honey bump. But yeah, it ain't gonna be business for long business. A little pleasurable business. But okay. Hey, Brenda T, welcome in, welcome in. Virtual Matt, I don't know how you want me to help you. If it involved tarot, I'm not doing tarot here tonight. We're just having a good conversation. Um, if you go to the homepage of this channel though and scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a section that says my other channel, and you'll see an icon for Anunnaki Oracle Priestess. Tap that icon, subscribe on that channel, and set notifications. Once I'm able to go live on that channel, as a thank you for getting to the point where I could go live on that channel, I will be doing a couple of days of mini free readings. And if there's something I can help you with there, that's fine. And if not, if you need more immediate or more extensive attention, please email me at modernmysticmessages@gmail.com, and you can arrange for a personal paid reading if you'd like. Hey, Jency. How are you? Or Gen Xy? Welcome, welcome. You say you gonna make caramel together. Honestly, that 2835 thing, that's actually right about right. People don't understand. You know what, Cola, it's interesting. Last night I uploaded the from section 1 up through chapter 36 in the book of Enoch. Yeah, and it is kind of mind blowing, but it really nailed down for me the fact that Enoch is referring to Lord Enki, not Lord Enlil. The characteristics of what he's talking about, especially with Michael and Gabriel and Uriel and all them, basically they go back and they like, Lord, do you see they acting a fool down here and they doing this and they doing that? What do you want us to do about it? Michael, Uriel, Gabriel, and Raphael are soul team Enki all day. That's the A team. And that's why, and I talked about it on the channel. I was like, we hear about these other angels, Barakiel and Sariel and all of them. And I've felt hesitant about dealing with those other unknown angels. And now I understand why. They are part of the watchers who are team Yahweh. They don't mean us no good. They still interacting with people on this planet. I hear people talking about Barakiel all the time. That clown don't mean us no good at all. who has experienced the world more than me is someone you want. Yeah. Well, truthfully, even from, oh, thank you, Gen XC. Um, hey Joyce, I didn't even see you slide on in here too. Awesome, awesome. Um, even if we're not looking at, I don't know what Ben Franklin was looking at, but from a developmental standpoint, people understand that typically when boys and girls go through adolescence, that girls mature a little faster than men. But when it comes down to our physical qualities, even when you look at it from a physical standpoint, men reach their sexual peak around age 25 or so. Women don't reach theirs till around age 42 or so. So theoretically, if you really look at it, younger men and older women belong together. I'm telling you, it's a match made in heaven, because usually by the time he gets mature enough to have some real sense and want to settle down. Now, obviously, if he wants children, he may need to go and get him a younger model. But if it's not for the purpose of breeding, if you just talking about somebody that's going to be your piece, by the time he gets old enough to settle down, she is an older woman that been through the nonsense, and she just wants peace as well. She done made all the mistakes and stopped being so crazy jealous and all the rest of that stuff. And she's in her sexual prime, so you ain't missing nothing. The JJ doesn't age. People that get stuck up on that, like I said, unless they worried about prying a baby out of her, an older woman is not a threat. And if she takes good care of her body, you honestly, it's a lot of older women out there now that look way better than the incoming generation, because the incoming generation is pasty, doughy, fat from all of the chemicals and carbs and nonsense. Their skin is aging badly. They done drank so much aspartame and sugary sodas and everything else. It's a lot of chicks that's in their 20s that look like they in their 40s or 50s. I'm just being real. It's some that are taking care of themselves and look great too. But especially in the Western world, this newest generation, they are aging badly. So your spirit animal is a species of dinosaur that went extinct because they were lesbian. Oh Lord. You know what? You need to stop, boy. I thought you were being serious. You said you dated a man that was 14 years younger than me. Child, my boo thing is 20 years younger than me. For 4 years I put him on in the friend zone because I just couldn't accept our age gap. I didn't even think he was serious about me. It was a long distance relationship. I didn't want to do that again. He was mad young. I didn't want to do that. And he was so fine till I was like, I knew he couldn't be talking to me with my fluffy tail, because he's a gym rat, 8-pack and long dreads, and oh my God. And I'm like, what? But we literally, he stayed, and I don't recommend nobody do that. But, and again, you say he a fool, Maurice? Okay, well, my thing was, and I understand now why we both got put in like a spiritual timeout. So me putting him in the friend zone, he needed to slow down in life. We mirror see each other so completely. We've been going through many of the same karmic lessons. I was a single mother. He became a single father that actually is raising his children. He's had one of them since she was 6 months old, and his second child, he has had him since he was 3 weeks old. They have zero interaction with their mothers. So we both went through that. We both went through family issues and narcissism and spiritual stuff and the poverty cycle and all of that. So we basically held each other down as friends anyway. And then as he got a little older and I kind of softened my stance on the age thing and all of that, I just accepted. Because he finally, when he hit like 30, he was like, I don't know how long it's going to take you to realize I'm not going nowhere. I know what I want, and I'm a grown-ass man. I know what I want. When are you going to stop playing with me? And then I had to really realize, yeah, you're being kind of silly, Teresa, because at that point, he do know he's not a child. Yeah. I honestly think I thought he was talking about me. I thought he was talking about my boyfriend was a fool to have an older woman. I didn't know what he was talking about, but I knew you. I kind of figured you was joking. That's why I just laughed. I really do. I don't honestly think that he was calling you a fool, but okay. But here's the thing, it's not all about them. I mean, obviously, if she was truly, truly struggling financially and just shopping for somebody to help her out of it, that would be one thing. But if she has a working farming situation and you're coming from an environment that you're used to that and understand that, and she has horses and cattle and land, that's a viable scenario. Yeah, you lose a lot of money on the horses and blah, 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 but you can figure out a way to turn it around. Like I said, if y'all don't do nothing else but go become active on social media, you could figure out a way to make enough money to turn that into something. If she's an hour north of Atlanta and she's got 13 horses, she might be able to get a loan or do whatever she needs to do to become a riding stable or take tours out or whatever, so that folks from the city can actually get the riding experience. There's a lot of different ways that she could spend that. She's not a lost cause, and neither are you. I think it's going to be a wonderful scenario for you. I really do. Y'all are going to be fine. And I know you're going to be fine because every time you come in here, you talking about it. I bet you cheesing like a Cheshire cat while you talk. You glowing while you even thinking about her. Y'all are going to be just fine, honey. And you done already said the magic numbers. You're 28 and she's 35. She finna rock your world. Just make sure she don't have you all strung out there looking crazy. That's all I want you to do. I'm telling you, unless you done dealt with older women before, she finna turn your ass inside out. I'm just being honest. It's gonna blow your mind. Okay, so he clarified. Are you happy now, Winston? I figured he wasn't being ugly. That's why I didn't get offended because he didn't. He ain't. He's never been that dude on here before. So he was joking. He was joking. I didn't say whether you said it. I said I can look. I've been in the online space for so long till I can hear the way people talk. People talk the way they text, the way they talk. So I've been looking at your comments, and I know you already are about halfway gone for this woman. And by the time she lay it on you, I'm telling she gonna turn your ass inside out. You come back and tell me I was right. I already know. Have you ever been with a sister before? Answer me that. I ain't talking about it whether you had a crush on a sister in high school. Have you ever been in an adult relationship with a chocolate sister, Weston? I'm asking a question. Why you taking so long to answer, boy? I'm waiting. You see, I'm invested now. Shoot. Okay. See. Okay, good. Now, and it doesn't matter whether you have or not. I just wanted to know because now I know for sure she fitting to have you out there on Front Street at high noon searching for her ass with a flashlight. She fitting to rock your world and turn you inside out. And it's not even a bad thing. You're 28, she's 35. She Congratulations. That's all I gotta say. And honestly, the marketability of y'all as a couple, and again, if you decide to go into the public, into the social media space, just be careful not to let it, not to let the haterade get to y'all as a couple. But just the scenario that you've told me so far sounds extremely, extremely marketable from a social media aspect. A 28-year-old dude coming from Oklahoma, coming to pair up with a long distance love, kind of, sort of, you don't know, y'all in the friend zone, kind of, but you're both digging each other, but you coming to help her out of a situation to create a working farm that she's struggling with. Turn a video camera on that, and as y'all fall in love, I'm trying to tell you, you probably have a couple of million subscribers in little time or none if you get creative about it. Look at was it King of Queens or whatever, Queen? I can't think of that girl, and I don't like the way she's handling her channel now, because she done turned being a ghetto fabulous black chick, and they played off of the race card because they done had 2 or 3 children now. But she was like a single mother. She was divorced, but her baby daddy was beating her or wasn't doing right by her or whatever, and she got some big beefy looking, looked like he should have been from Oklahoma, some big white dude, and they got married and had a couple more kids and all the rest, and they're super sexual. She was some kind of an exotic dancer, a gymnast, I don't know, but the marketability of it changed their lives. He had a decent job and was making money and all the rest of that too, but it took their family into that for real getting paid on YouTube space. Awesome. You said not much geopolitics here? Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I'm here doing this, but whenever, hey, Gerald Gregory, I'm so sorry I didn't see you before, but welcome in, welcome in. And Berman Al Masri, hello, welcome to you too. Um, Once I'm actually in union with my counterpart, well, like I said, I've got a couple of social media things that I'm gonna do when I start traveling. Once I get to Japan and stuff, I'll start traveling and doing some travel vlogging. But once I actually get past the initial stage, get settled into a relationship with my guy, we probably are gonna go ahead and become a social media couple as well. And I don't mind. I'm gonna go straight to the thing that I know they're gonna yank us about in the age difference, because I know they're gonna come after us, and we don't care. Because hey, if Cheryl and Quan could do well, they turned their relation. But even at that, now yeah, Quan went to jail, and I'm not saying that they would, because it looks like they have some scam stuff going on or whatever. But as an odd couple on social media, they wanted to make money, so they played directly up to the thing that made them so odd. She literally, she's in her 60s or something, and she looked like she'd been rolled hard and put up wet. There's no other way to put around. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to that woman or nothing, but she looked like a recovering druggie or something, that life was really not good to her. And he was like 27 years old with this 60 something year old woman that looked like the back end of hard times. So of course people clowned them in the media, and they played into it instead of getting upset about it, and they wound up getting their plaque and their button and they social media money and all the rest of that stuff. I can't hate to play a other game. If people gonna clown your relationship anyway, you might as well turn on the camera and get paid, right? You said she had to order a groom from Oklahoma because her boo boo things in Georgia didn't work out. She probably, well, you ain't never lied. Look, and I'm not saying she couldn't have found somebody in Georgia, but she damn sure wouldn't have found it in Atlanta. Atlanta, people think that they joking when they say Atlanta is the download capital of the world, and I don't get out much, but it wouldn't be surprising to me at all. You say you gonna miss who, lady? Who going somewhere? When I go, I'm taking y'all with me. I ain't going. I'm not jumping off of here. When I do leave this country, trust me, I'm gonna turn on the camera from the time I get on the plane. Y'all gonna be going right along with me, because that will become, travel vlogging is going to be a very significant part of my work package, whatever, I'm segueing out of corporate life into social media. Now, again, I'm teaching and doing what I do here for the love of doing it, but this ain't gonna get me paid. But travel and food vlogging and relationship lifestyle vlogging and doing the spiritual candles and tarot and things like that, all of those, there is a market for those in social media. So I'm gonna do that too and turn on the camera and take you with me. You said she 25% African American. Okay, that's cool. Oh Lord, hold on. Ooh, yeah. Happy Friday by His grace, Marie. I didn't even see you come in. Awesome. Oh, good. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, Joyce, I ain't going nowhere no time soon because I guess I don't officially reached that age. They don't want to hire my behind no way. So I might as well make social media do its thing. Look, if Mr. Beast can make however many $100 million he get, I don't need that much. I just need to. But like I said, truthfully, the spiritual, humanitarian, whatever you want to call it, projects that I've been shown that I want to do are going to require a social media presence because like I said, I done cut all the people out my life basically. How I'm gonna raise $5 or $10 million on my own if I don't go to social media for it? It's going to take people that believe in me and what I'm doing, and me showing them what I want to do, and it's describing it and making the plan and all the rest of that, and actually raising the money to do it because I don't want to do it with government grants. I don't want the government in my business. I want to do something that's ours, that's genuinely going to positively impact the lives of thousands of people and hopefully way more than that. I want it to still be going strong 4 lifetimes from now. You know what I mean? So that's going to require a digital footprint. Awesome. Hey, Jamaica Guide TV. Awesome, awesome. Welcome in, welcome in. I'll be going to Okinawa when I go. My son and his wife have been there. He's in the military, and until he winds up going somewhere else, I think he's gonna wind up going the distance career wise. But he asked me to come and stay with them for a while, so I want to do that. And but when I do, I also want to study Reiki. I mean, I've been attuned to the master level, but I want to study Reiki under a Japanese master. I'd love to take some Japanese cooking courses. I love Chinese and Japanese food, and I do my own kind of thing here, but I'd like to take some of those classes, go visit a lot of the temples and things like that, go out in the park and do Tai Chi in the park with folks by the water, just all that good stuff. And then once I have to leave, when my visa runs out and I have to leave for a little bit before I can come back, I can jump over to Thailand and do a little tourism vlogging over there, run over to Ghana and see my boo thing over there. There's a lot of different places we can go. And once I actually get to where I have a stable income coming in that allows me to travel, I've made like a dream list, if you will, of multiple sacred places around the world that I'd like to go and vlog those experiences. Go to Sedona, go to Mount Shasta, go to Stonehenge, go to the Yellow Temple, go to the Taj Mahal, go to Göbekli Tepe, all of those places, Chichen Itza, you name it. And take y'all with me, you know. You get some green bean seeds from your tiger mom. It's like a mutated version of what you had here. Awesome. Oh, now that you talking about meeting somebody at Stonehenge. Now that's something else I also considered. And again, it depends on what kind of team gels up around me, because there's a lot of stuff that I don't want to be bothered with, a whole lot of whatever. But if I had the right team in place, I've considered starting to do like group meets or tours, whatnot, at sacred spaces, like planning trips to Cairo or whatever. Like Billy Carson does Egypt every however long, and I would love to like arrange a meetup or do tours like that in different places. Again, now I don't never think I'm gonna know as much about Egypt as Billy does, but if I get with the right people, we can hopefully I'd be able to advance and announce in advance enough time to actually arrange some meetup type tours so that we can meet in those different places, and you wouldn't just be looking at the video version, but some of y'all that want to come along with, we can arrange to meet in those places. Yeah, have sacred space adventures. Sorry about that. Yeah, I would love to go to Ireland and Scotland, and basically wherever it's politically safe to go, color me there. That's what I look forward to. Yep. Like I said, I can't go just yet. We got to get the money up and all of that good stuff, but it's coming. Like I said, I don't believe Spirit has shown this stuff and put it in my heart for me not to do it. So I am claiming that we will do it. I just don't know how long it's going to take to get the seed money up to begin to do it. I do have to get like financially stable. I got some debt that I need to pay off here. I've even thought about doing a GoFundMe to raise the money to pay my debts and get everything situated so that I can afford to leave the country. Because honestly, finances is what's keeping me here right now. I could have been in Okinawa last December if I'd had the money set up to do it right. Like honestly. And it ain't even money as far as my son probably would have even paid for the ticket, but I didn't want to go there and be beholden. I'm not going broke, but I have some debt, taxes, student loans, things like that that I need to clear up before I leave the country, because I'm not planning on coming back no time soon. So yeah, I definitely have considered. I might still do that at some point too, like do a GoFundMe and just see what happens. You say you be arrested at the airport and sent back to the colonies, Western. You must be your family must be some bad dudes over there, but okay. Of course, Teresa. I can say I'm at a point now. I used to not speak much on it because I knew I had some haters that were literally doing binding spells and stuff to try to keep me from reaching certain goals. But I also realized that the time is coming that I have to be transparent about it, because again, ain't nobody gonna hand me the money if they don't know what it's for. So it was shown to me a while back that at some point in down the line, and I don't press it, I don't know when it's coming or how it's coming. If I keep doing what I'm doing, somewhere in the lineup is going to attract the right person or people that actually want to become patrons that will be able to help me with some of that. And I mean, I'm talking about like high profile where they got the kind of money or celebrity that where they have to kind of spend their money so that the government don't eat it up. And I'm going to somehow bump into some of those kind of people that want to actually help further the cause, and I believe they're going to be the ones that help seed some of this stuff to happen. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I know I have supporters, I know there's haters, but it's I started seeing that probably about a year ago, and for some reason I think they're going to come off of Instagram, but I don't even be on Instagram no more like that, and it kind of bothers me that I probably need to start going back on there for that very reason, because for a long time, for some reason, I just really suspected that the person that I need to see me is gonna see me on Instagram. And I don't know why I think that, but because I do think that, I'm gonna have to deal with Instagram, I guess, or TikTok. Maybe I'll see them on there. Hey, Danae, how are you? I'm good. How you been? And thank you, Teresa, for that vote of confidence. I just got to get organized so I can kind of do a little bit of everything. Since I don't know where the donor or the patron is going to come from, I probably need to get my channels set up and then get a work schedule and pattern set up here, and then navigate the TikTok space, and then figure out how to get right on Instagram. I don't mess with Instagram because I have a hard time getting videos to upload there. It's like I got about a 50% rate of successful uploads. I'd be sitting there trying, and the way my ADD is set up, if I try to upload it 5 or 6 times and they keep telling me it failed, I get annoyed with it and I'll just delete it and go on about my business. I won't keep trying. I don't know why it won't upload, but I have a problem with that. Hey, Melissa Engel, how are you? And Natalie Dillon. Hey, hey. Said peace to the fam. I know that's right, Natalie. Bless you. Oh, I'm so sorry you've been in the hospital. Sorry about that, my love. I hope you get better soon. And I'm sorry you're going through a bad breakup too. I definitely hope things work out smoothly for you soon. My algorithm is fine, Western, on there because I really don't do much on it. It's Modern Mystic Messages, but I've gone on there several times and be like trying to make a little video to upload to the channel, and sometimes it'll successfully upload, and then sometimes it just will not. And I just don't have the patience for that kind of inconsistency. Sometimes here on YouTube, it may take forever and a month of Sundays for something to upload, but I know if I set it to upload, eventually it's gonna upload. I don't have them kind of problems here. So I just stopped dealing with Instagram, but I'm gonna have to get back to it eventually. What's good, Melissa? How you be on this beautiful, well, it is still Friday night for what, 32 minutes? Oh, I'm not going nowhere off of YouTube. Like I say, that's going to be my main thing, YouTube. But I felt like I don't even know if it was a meditation thing or just intuition, but for some reason, I feel like there's a celebrity or wealthy person on Instagram that's going to see something that I do or say on Instagram and reach out to me and want to work with me. I'm hoping they find me here on YouTube, to be honest, because I really don't want to be fooled up with Instagram. I'm hoping they find me right here, and I may have to do TikTok, but yeah, if I could keep it streamlined to one platform, that would be absolutely wonderful. You, Oh wow, yeah. Honestly, the way the algorithms, and I don't even know how to figure some of that stuff out because they be talking about all kinds of craziness. You know what really bothers me? Like when we have to censor saying things like referring to people being violated, or um there's a lot of words that they censor the individual word, and it really really bothers me because they are literally limiting people's vocabulary. The next generations won't even know how to describe their traumas because we've had those words censored in media so much that they really will be, and you can't even say the word abuse without putting an asterisk in it. How are they going to identify what's happening to them if they can't use the actual words for it? But yet, every time I go in Facebook, I see some half naked and sometimes all the way naked woman twerking, jerking, doing this, that, and the third. See all kind of inappropriate stuff, people humping the screen and everything else. All of that's fine, but we can't use real words for real world problems that everyone should know. It's just, ugh. That annoys me so bad. Exactly. We can talk about OnlyFans right here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and everything else. But I can't say the word that means to violate someone. I can barely say the word sex, even though they say it all over TV and the commercials and everything else. But when a content creator says it, then it's a problem. Right, exactly. It's ignorant because how is a child gonna actually know to describe what's happening to them, and they coming up talking about fruit or something that looked like juice eyed? Sound like you're talking about Kool-Aid or something. How would they know? That's a real problem. And the only reason we have that level of censorship is because of leftist ideology. They've become overly permissive and overly inclusive of the wrong shit. Meanwhile, real issues are getting swept under the rug so that they can promote this foolery. Dang, you say you made 3 grand a month messaging men on OnlyFans. And that's the part that people never get. Because how do you even know who you're dealing with? Them like the 99 900 numbers things years ago when that was a real thing. I actually worked in a call center very briefly in Orlando. When I got there and trained and everything, the guy after a couple of days, he was like, honey, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you in the wrong call center. I got a dude down the block that can get you paid. But then I would have had to set up there and have them kind of raunchy calls with people, and I just didn't want to do it. But yeah. Exactly. And I could have pretend I could well on the phone I wouldn't have been able to pretend to be anything. But yeah, if you just text and yeah, and you just they're paying to be catfished and they like the idea, the fantasy. They don't even care. And yeah, that part. Mm-hmm. Them. You said bro 100. You say now you know you can go and pretend to be a chick. Hey, if you can stand to do it, get your paper. At the time that the dude told me about that, though, I was a single mother with minor children, and I was really kind of worried. Number one, I didn't want to be in a situation where if I was working from home, I didn't want my children to hear that sort of thing. And if I worked in a call center, I didn't want to wind up in a scenario where I could potentially be followed home by a stalker. I've seen how that plays out too. So I as a single mother, I was very careful about making sure that I would never have to be ashamed to explain to my children how I made my money. I had people asking me to be be a dominatrix for them. I had people that asked me to do all kinds of things that I would not have been able to explain to my children, and I just refused to do those things. I could have made a whole lot more money, back when I was younger and not quite as fluffy as I am now. I had a couple of folks that were discussing the possibility of me being a sugar baby and all that, but the idea, my ego just wouldn't let me allow myself to sell myself, to put myself in a position to have somebody treat me any kind of way they wanted because they were stroking a check at the end of the month. No, I ain't knocking people that can do it. I just didn't have a heart for it, not with kids. Ooh, Western. Yeah, I hear you. Mm-hmm. See, there you go. And you won't even a dude. They was looking for a woman that don't even exist. Yeah. Mm-mm. And I've been stalked before in real life, so I knew that working in those industries could put me in real potential to have those kinds of things happen, and I just did not want to go there. So, yeah. Stratocaster, you have no idea how long Stevie Ray passed. I didn't know that, but you about to get up out of here proselytizing And I won't be the one to do it. My mods will do it for me. But you know what, y'all? It's getting to be that time. Here they come. It's 11:35 and right on time. Here they come. We've been having a good conversation. Ain't had nothing to do with nothing this man talking about, and he don't have a clue. Disrespectful as hell. Just walk up in somebody's house and start spewing the wrong thing, especially when they spewing a lie. But you do you, Stratocaster. If you still ignorant enough, spiritually ignorant enough to believe that, you do you. But you're not gonna come up in here with it, okay? That part. Crucified on a cross. The ignorance in Christianity just blows my mind. It really do. What else we gonna talk about, y'all? I think, you know what though, I think I am gonna cut it here just so that I can get some sleep and be on in the morning. You said the guy that pulled up had a crucifix around his neck. Of course he did. It's the good Christians that keep the corn industry in business, and half of them that be in on half of the stars and all. Look, of all of the sob story stuff y'all have heard me say on this channel, the horrible ways that I've been treated and mistreated from my damaged empath, whatever you want to call it, space, every single one of my abusers, tormentors, whatever you want to call them, every single one of them considered themselves to be good Christians. I promise you. Some of them was wearing the big thick Jesus pieces. In fact, the one that was doing the binding spells on me he's considered a prayer warrior in his church and wear a big old cross about literally could be a weapon around his neck, and was out there doing actual voodoo spell casting on me. So these folks that come in here and go to Holland, all their little Christian rhetoric don't impress me a little bit. But yeah, baby dolls, I'm gonna jump on out of here before the freaks really, really come out at night. And again, if you get an opportunity, I don't know what time they're gonna release the beast and let me go live, but do be on the lookout for me. As soon as I see the capability to go live, I'll go ahead and put notifications on the community page on this channel and the other one, and let y'all know what time I'm gonna go live, and then we can hopefully have a little tarot fun. In the meantime, in between time, good night, everyone, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day or evening wherever you're at. And until we meet up again, peace and blessings to you. I love you. Namaste.